Chapter 1938. Yi Tianyan welcomed the arrival of many strong enemies. As long as they were not star venerables, he was confident he could kill them. He would get an endless supply of star energy. He wanted to earn some star energy. It was not in his nature to kill innocent people. However, if someone came to make trouble for him, he would not be polite. You are boasting shamelessly. You think you are invincible just because you have some power. I don't know which faction you are from, but this is the ancestral land of the Jade God. Even if the powerhouses of the ancestral land of the Jade God don't come, you will still die if you are surrounded by the other star lords. Fairy Yuran still believed that it was impossible for Yi Tianyan to kill everyone, not even star monarchs. She could not be blamed. After all, the power Yi Tianyan had used was only a small part of it. In her opinion, he had used a very strong power. As long as he did not become a Star Lord, they would not know how strong a Star Lord's power was. Is that so? I am looking forward to it. Yi Tianyan smiled. He sat down and waited for the 9 revolution star grass to ripen. Fairy Yuran shook her head. She still had the same arrogant expression as Yi Tianyan. Fairy Fanyu was worried. She had been worried since the beginning. She did not know how to solve this problem, especially when she heard the name of the Metal Wind Star Lord. Why don't you leave now? If the Metal Wind Star Lord comes, it will be difficult for you to escape. Fairy Fanyu thought for a while and tried to dissuade him. The Metal Wind Star Lord is really different from ordinary Star Lords. Leave this place to me. As soon as I get the 9 revolution star grass, I will come and find you immediately. It was Yi Tianyan, not her, who had killed so many deacons of the ancestral land of the Jade God. Therefore, the Metal Wind Star Lord would not make things difficult for her. Therefore, before the Metal Wind Star Lord came, her priority was to escape. After all, there was only one exit. There were no other exits. It seemed like she was flying casually, but some places were actually dead ends. Once she flew over, she would be in trouble. Even a Star Lord would die. Of course, there must be another exit, but they were not clear about it. At least Fairy Fanyu didn't know there was another exit. Yi Tianyan glanced at her and said with a smile, "It seems that you also think that I can't defeat Metal Wind Star Sovereign?" Well, Fairy Fanyu thought about it and said, "You should be careful. After all, Metal Wind Star Lord is very strong. If you train for a bit longer, you should be fine." Yi Tianyan smiled at her, making her hair stand on end. "What if I say I'm not leaving? What if I want to stay here?" Yi Tianyan said with a smile, "If you really want to stay here, I'll stay with you." Fairy Fanyu also sat down to meditate. Fairy Yuran, who was at the side, laughed mockingly. "You really don't know what's good for you. When the Golden Wind Star Lord arrives, you won't be able to escape even if you want to." Pa. Fairy Yuran turned her face to the side. When she turned her head again, there was a burning handprint on her face. Naturally, it was Yi Tianyan who had slapped her. "You, how dare you hit me?" Fairy Yuran screamed. The most important thing for a female cultivator was their face, especially since she cherished it so much. "If you say one more word, do you believe that I will scratch your face so badly that you will never recover?" Yi Tianyan said calmly. When Fairy Yuran heard this, she shut her mouth obediently. She didn't dare to utter another word. She believed that Yi Tianyan would definitely do what he said, and he would not show any mercy. He had made her look neither human nor ghost. It was worse than killing her. However, she looked at Yi Tianyan with hatred. She wanted nothing more than to tear Yi Tianyan apart. However, she couldn't even move, let alone tear Yi Tianyan apart. Time passed quickly, and the 9 revolution star grass gradually matured. At that moment, a few figures came in from outside, and they spoke at the same time. "It should be around here. The reaction is very strong." After entering, she immediately exclaimed, "It's really here. There's actually someone here." Fairy Yuran turned her head and saw that it was the Sword Wind Star Lord. She was overjoyed. She didn't expect that it would be the Sword Wind Star Lord, a powerful Star Lord. "A Star Lord is here, and it's the Sword Wind Star Lord. Let's see if you can survive this time." Fairy Yuran was extremely pleased. When Fairy Fanyu saw the Sword Wind Star Lord enter, her heart tightened. She didn't expect someone else to enter. When she saw the celestial stone in the Sword Wind Star Lord's hand, she knew why he could enter. Indeed, the celestial stone was overflowing. She didn't know why, but there was a lot of it. In the past, the celestial stone was extremely rare, and one would have to pay a huge price to obtain it. It's the Sword Wind Star Lord. I didn't expect a Star Lord to find this place so quickly. Fairy Fanyu stood up hurriedly and stared at the Sword Wind Star Lord. At that moment, the few Star Masters beside the Sword Wind Star Lord laughed happily. Lord Sword Wind Star Lord, although we aren't the first, it doesn't seem to make a difference. We can deal with these fellows easily. When the time comes, we can have the 9 Revolution Star Grass for ourselves. That's right. I didn't expect our luck to be so good. We were found just like that. Lord Sword Wind Star Lord is amazing. The few Star Masters shouted happily. They looked at the Sword Wind Star Lord as if they were looking at dead people. Fairy Yuran wasn't satisfied, but she still felt great that Tianyan and the others were attacked. Pa, pa, pa. At that moment, the few Star Masters who were talking were sent flying by a slap. Many of their teeth were knocked out. All of you shut up. Do you know who this person is? The Sword Wind Star Lord complained angrily. He smiled and walked in front of Tianyan. So this place has already been discovered by you. In that case, I won't disturb you any further. Tianyan glanced at the Sword Wind Star Lord and said indifferently, "Oh, I thought you would fight me for the 9 Revolution Star Grass. I wouldn't dare. Whoever finds it first gets it. That's the rule. They don't know how to speak. Please don't take offense." The Sword Wind Star Lord smiled, but his back was drenched in cold sweat. He had seen Tianyun's strength. In the blink of an eye, 2 Star Lords had been crushed. Even he couldn't do that. Tianyun didn't even bother to look at him. He reached out his hand and slapped the Star Grandmasters who were stunned by Tianyun's attack. Tianyun smashed the Star Grandmasters into a blood mist in front of Sword Wind Star Monarch. If you don't know how to speak, go and learn. We can talk about it in your next life, Tianyun said indifferently. That's right, that's right. The Sword Wind Star Lord's face darkened. Although he was unhappy that someone had killed his own people in front of him, he could only accept it. In that case, I'll make a move first. I won't disturb you any further. The Sword Wind Star Lord's face darkened. He quickly led the others away, not daring to linger. Chapter 1939. Fairy Yuran was stunned, and so was Fairy Fanyu. That was the Sword Wind Star Monarch. The fame of the Sword Wind Star Venerate spread far and wide. Even among the many Star Venerates, he ranked among the top. Now many of Sword Wind Star Monarch's subordinates had been slapped to death with a single slap. Yet he had chosen to leave instead of taking revenge. This was undoubtedly even more shocking. Those who reached the Star Venerate level were rather prideful. If their subordinates were killed, they would definitely be extremely protective. Unexpectedly, the Sword Wind Star Monarch did not dare to attack. Instead, he obediently left, not even wanting the 9 Revolution Star Grass. This scene stunned Fairy Yuran. She had thought that the Sword Wind Star Lord would fight with Tianyan. Unexpectedly, the Sword Wind Star Lord left obediently. This. Fairy Yuran was speechless. She really didn't expect this to happen. Her plan was ruined. Before she could think further, a few more figures flew in, and the leader was another Star Lord. Fairy Yuran raised her head and was delighted. It's Lord Yaoxing. He is even more domineering than the Sword Wind Star Lord. Celestial Lord Yaoxing. Fairy Fanyu's eyes narrowed. Another Celestial Lord had arrived so quickly. Wasn't it a little too fast? Looking at the celestial crystals in their hands, it was indeed the problem with the celestial crystals. Once the number of heaven crystal stones increased, it would become extremely chaotic. Especially when the 9 Revolution Star Grass was close to maturity, the heaven crystal stone's judgment would be even more accurate. At that time, there would definitely be more experts coming. At the very least, there would be batches of Grandmaster Xing. It's you? When this Star Venerate entered, the first thing he saw was not the 9 Revolution Star Grass but Tianyan. As soon as he saw Tianyan, he was shocked. Oh, it's you. You're also here for the 9 Revolution Star Grass? Tianyan smiled faintly. The luminous star Venerate in front of him was the star Venerate who had watched his battle with the divine cauldron star Venerate and the others. He had not interfered and wanted to profit from the fight. I was just passing by and happened to see a reaction here. Since you've discovered it, then it's yours. I won't disturb you any further. Ming Xingyao turned around and left with his men. He didn't even bother to stay. This scene caused Fairy Yuran and the others to be stunned once again. Why was Lord Mingxing leaving as well? It was too late for him to dodge, so he quickly chose to leave, not even coming into contact with him. This kind of effect was equivalent to seeing a god of plague. What's going on? Why did they leave as soon as they saw you? Fairy Fanyu was confused. Yi Tianyun glanced at them indifferently and said indifferently, nothing much. They saw me kill 2 star Venerates earlier. Tell me, do they still dare to provoke me? Fairy Yuran sucked in a breath of cold air. She was shocked by Yi Tianyun's words. He killed 2 star Venerates. A star Venerate was an unrivaled existence. Even if one wanted to kill one would need to expend a certain amount of effort. Yi Tianyun killing 2 star Venerates in a row sounded extremely terrifying. He killed 2 star Venerates? Who are they? Fairy Fanyu was stunned. A star Venerate from the Celestial Pole Ancestral Land, and a star Venerate from the Divine Cauldron Ancestral Land. Yi Tianyun flicked his fingers and smiled faintly. I heard that the Celestial Pole Starlord was a lackey of the Jade God Ancestral Land, but I still killed him. Yi Tianyun had a calm expression, as if he was talking about something insignificant. Fairy Yuran's heart was in turmoil as she listened to the story. This was too frightening. 2 star Venerates had been killed. What did that mean? The Metal Wind Star Venerate is different. He is very strong. Fairy Yuran still persisted in her belief that the Metal Wind Star Venerate would definitely be able to suppress Yi Tianyun. He will definitely be strong, but I will be stronger than him. Yi Tianyun smiled faintly and continued to meditate. Fairy Yuran obediently shut her mouth. No one knew what she was thinking. Fairy Fanyu's eyes were filled with surprise. She had not seen Yi Tianyun's true strength. Now that he could kill 2 star Venerates, it meant that he was definitely not weak. She had thought that Yi Tianyun would lose mainly because the star Venerates of the Jade God Ancestral Land had left too deep an impression on her. They were all top-notch existences among the star Venerates. Naturally, she was worried. As time continued to pass, other cultivators soon arrived. However, this time it was the ignorant Grandmaster Xing. After they barged in, they looked at the 9 Revolution star grass with pleasant surprise. When they wanted to kill them, Yi Tianyun killed them with one slap. There are too many heavenly crystal stones. I can't even pick them in peace. Yi Tianyun shook his head and looked at Fairy Fanyu. It looks like it was not worth it for you to guard the heavenly crystal stones. There are so many of them. What is going on? Has this happened before? It has never happened before. It has always been very rare. There have never been so many. In the past, getting the heavenly crystal stones was equivalent to finding the 9 Revolution star grass. Furthermore, with the treasure in the fog, it was very safe to get the 9 Revolution star grass. Fairy Fanyu shook her head. She was also confused. She did not know what was going on. Yes, no matter what, I will definitely get this 9 Revolution star grass. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. Even if Metal Wind Star Venerate came, he would not be able to stop him. Fortunately, there were no problems. Metal Wind Star Venerate did not appear except for some trash. It's about to ripen. Yi Tianyun suddenly opened his eyes and stared at the 9 Revolution star grass. Soon, the 9 Revolution star grass burst out with vast star energy and soared into the sky. Even a thick mountain could not stop this pillar of light. When the people outside saw this scene, they all knew where the 9 Revolution star grass had appeared. This was the time when Yi Tianyun faced the most strong enemies. When the 9 Revolution star grass ripened, it was like the golden divine grass, growing up crazily. The difference was that the 9 Revolution star grass was surrounded by stellar energy. It looked like it was enveloped by dense stellar energy. If he wanted to obtain the 9 Revolution star grass, he would have to break through the layers of revolving star power to obtain it. It was not easy. Without the cultivation of a mid to late stage star master, It would not be easy to get it. It's here. At this time, groups of cultivators rushed in with all their might. They were all grandmasters Xing from various clans. They all rushed in one after another. When they saw the matured 9-revolution star grass, they were deeply attracted. Snatch it. Quick. When the group of star masters wanted to snatch it, Tianyan took a step forward. The image of the 5-colored monarch dragon burst out. The domineering aura descended and shocked the group of star masters that pounced at him. It's star venerate, they were shocked. They did not expect this young man to be a star venerate. Chapter 1940. Tianyan drew a line on the ground. This was the boundary. Whoever crossed this boundary would die. This frightened grandmasters Xing and the others. How could they contend against a star venerate level existence? All of them gulped and retreated a few steps, not daring to move forward. Some chose to flee in a hurry, while others stayed at the side and watched. Who knew what they were thinking? Tianyan ignored them. Instead, he opened his hand, and the power of the 5-colored emperor dragon pressed down, instantly suppressing the ring of light on the 9-revolution star grass. The ring of light on the surface of the 9-revolution star grass could injure people, even Grandmaster Xing. However, that was only for Grandmaster Xing. To a star venerate, it was insignificant. Under the continuous suppression, the ring of light gradually dimmed, looking like it would collapse at any moment. Break for me. Tianyan pinched the 9-revolution star grass hard. And with a bang, the 9-revolution star grass's star power ring was crushed. It was very easy, without much difficulty. After crushing it, Tianyan grabbed the escaping 9-revolution star grass. However, the 9-revolution star grass was rather slippery. Tianyan leaped up and turned into a beam of light, fleeing to the side. Now is the time. The eyes of the watching grandmasters Xing lit up, and they immediately pounced over to the 9-revolution star grass. When they saw an opportunity, they immediately pounced over. Even though Tianyan had warned them earlier, they were very bold, wanting to snatch it and run. The temptation of the 9-revolution star grass was too strong. It was mainly because they thought that if they snatched the 9-revolution star grass, they would be able to break through to grade 5 or grade 6 dermic bodies. Tianyan's gaze turned cold. He opened his hand, and a sweeping force swept out, crushing the group of grandmasters Xing that were pouncing over into powder. At the same time, he stretched out his hand and pinched the fleeing 9-revolution star grass. You want to leave? Xiaochen could not let the 9-revolution star grass escape. He just had to be careless at the start and get serious later on. Then he would be able to catch it easily. This was something that even Grandmaster Xing could catch, not to mention a star venerate. If he couldn't catch it, it would be really embarrassing. You still dare to cross the line? Tianyan's gaze swept to the front. Some Grandmasters Xing, who wanted to rush over, no longer dared to take even half a step forward. With a wave of Tianyan's hand, more than 10 Grandmaster Xing were killed. This kind of power scared them out of their wits. Previously, he had wanted to use the 9-revolution star grass to escape and quickly capture it. Now, it looked like they were too naive. This star venerate was extremely tyrannical, not something they could compare to. Even the slightest provocation was unacceptable. We will go now. All of them turned and left in fright. Now that the 9-revolution star grass had been obtained, they no longer had a chance unless a star venerate came. After they left, Tianyan held the 9-revolution star grass in his hand. He could feel the dense star power in it. It indeed gave him a feeling of merging with the stars above. This is the 9-revolution star grass. It's much better than the golden divine grass. Tianyan squinted his eyes. He didn't intend to use the golden divine grass. The effect of that thing was average. He was more interested in this 9-revolution star grass. It's really beautiful. Fairy Fan Yu came over. This was the first time she saw the 9-revolution star grass. Naturally, she was curious. And if we consume it directly, the effect will not be as good as refining pills. Tianyan looked at the 9-revolution star grass. The effect of refining pills would definitely be better. However, his alchemy level was too ordinary. It was still at the lower realm level. If he used the lower realm level to refine it, the effect would be extremely poor. He might as well not refine it. The effect of refining pills will definitely be the best. However, the reward for finding a star alchemist is too high. The price of refining the 9 revolution stargrass is almost the same as 9 revolution stargrass. The price is too high. Therefore, we consume it directly. The effect is slightly poor, but at least the price isn't high. Fairy Fanyu knew the problem. However, the price was too high. She could only give up. Finding someone to refine pills. Yi Tianyan squinted his eyes. He could use other things to exchange for it. For example, there were many treasures in the Star Lord storage ring. These could be used as the price. Since they weren't his, he wouldn't feel the heartache. Then I will still find someone to refine pills. Do you have any good recommendations? Yi Tianyan felt that refining pills was better. It would be better if it was combined with other spiritual herbs. He felt that he wouldn't be able to improve much just by consuming it. In this case, he might as well keep it for later and find someone to refine pills for him. There are 2 best places to refine pills. One is the Phoenix Flame Palace and the other is the Jade God Ancestral Land. Fairy Fanyu felt a little awkward. The best place to refine pills was the Jade God Ancestral Land. The Jade God Ancestral Land was perfect in every aspect. It naturally had better resources. The Phoenix Flame Palace and the Jade God Ancestral Land. Yi Tianyan smiled. This is good. If I kill my way to the Jade God Ancestral Land, I can capture those star alchemists and get them to refine pills for me for free. He smiled. By then, there wouldn't be any price to pay. It would all be free. Fairy Fanyu had a weird expression. This sounded reasonable, but the difficulty wasn't low. How could it not be difficult to kill his way to the Jade God Ancestral Land and snatch the person over? It's about time. We should leave. Yi Tianyan nodded. Since the 9 revolution stargrass was in his hands, there was naturally no need to stay here any longer. Let's hurry up and leave. Fairy Fanyu nodded and dragged Fairy Yu ran away from this place. The 2 of them quickly left through the gap and went back the way they came. When they came to the empty area outside, a burly man radiating golden light was meditating at the exit. The cultivators passing by looked at him warily and took a detour from the side. However, this burly man didn't find trouble with them. He continued to meditate at the same spot. It's the Metalwind Star Lord. Fairy Fanyu exclaimed. When she saw the burly man, she covered her mouth in shock. It really is the Metalwind Star Lord. Fairy Yu Rant's eyes lit up. The Metalwind Star Lord was indeed here, and was guarding the entrance. How was Yi Tianyan going to escape now? At this moment, the Metalwind Star Lord seemed to have sensed Yi Tianyan. He opened his eyes suddenly and a golden beam shot towards them. This was a real attack. Yi Tianyan stretched out his hand and flicked the 2 golden beams away. Boom. Chapter 1941. So this is the Metalwind Star Venerate. Yi Tianyan narrowed his eyes as he sized up this Metalwind Star Venerate. He had to admit that this Metalwind Star Venerate was indeed a strong enemy. As a late-stage Star Venerate, his body contained the startling power of metal wind. That was the combination of metal and wind. Not only did he have the indestructibility of metal, but he also had the speed of wind. When the 2 were combined, he was simply unstoppable. This was just on the surface. Xiaochen would have to wait for the Metalwind Star Venerate to unleash his full power. At the very least, based on this first attack, the Metalwind Star Venerate's might was extraordinary. You are the culprit who killed so many of my Jade God Ancestral Land's disciples? The Metalwind Star Venerate stood up, appearing irritable. You made me wait for so long. What a waste of my time. Before the Metalwind Star Venerate finished speaking, he turned into a beam of golden light and charged over. He did not say much and just flew over to fight Yi Tianyan. The Metalwind Star Venerate did not bring out his dermic body. He just relied on his own strength to charge over. The might of a late-stage Star Venerate's physical body alone was extremely horrifying. Along the way, the perfect fusion of the power of metal and the power of wind was like a golden sword with countless sharp blades, plowing a large gully in the ground. The horrifying scene frightened the surrounding cultivators. They hurriedly retreated to the side. not daring to have the slightest intention of approaching. If they got any closer, even a late-stage Grandmaster Xing would be easily torn into powder. Back off. Yi Tianyan waved his hand, and a force pushed Fairy Fanyu to the side, far away from him. At the same time, he did not dodge. He raised his hand and clashed head-on with the Metal Wind Star Venerate. To think that he dares to clash with the Metal Wind Star Venerate. Is this fellow a fool? The Metal Wind Star Venerate's strongest point is his physical body. To think that he dares to compete with the Metal Wind Star Venerate in terms of physical body. Is there something wrong with his head? He must be a fool. Does he really think that he can compare to the Metal Wind Star Venerate? Hey, isn't he that arrogant brat? He killed the people of several factions. Now he dares to offend the Metal Wind Star Venerate? Isn't he a fool? Some recognized Yi Tianyan, while others didn't. Some news didn't spread that fast. Even if it did, they hadn't seen Yi Tianyan's face, so they didn't know Yi Tianyan's real identity. Boom. Fist against fist, the two fists collided, creating a violent collision. The power of gold and the power of wind swept out in all directions. A moment later, a figure was sent flying. Everyone focused their eyes and saw that it was indeed Yi Tianyan who was sent flying. He landed heavily on the ground and created a huge crater. Yi Tianyan, who had been sent flying, slowly crawled out of the huge pit. His body was heavily injured, and he looked extremely miserable. Trying to compete with me in terms of physical strength? You're overestimating yourself. Goldwind Star Lord was extremely disdainful of Yi Tianyan. His eyes were filled with contempt, as if he was looking at a defeated dog with its tail between its legs. Heavenly Cloud Star Lord! Fairy Fanyu exclaimed. She thought that Yi Tianyan would be able to hold on, but there was no miracle. He was sent flying by Goldwind Star Lord, and it seemed like he was on the losing end. Fairy Yuran's eyes were full of joy. She thought that Yi Tianyan would be able to win the battle, but now it seemed like she was exaggerating. She was just bragging. Ha ha ha, I knew it. You're overestimating yourself. Compared to Goldwind Star Lord, you're still far from being on the same level. It's fine that you're not as strong as him, but you still want to compete with Goldwind Star Lord in terms of physical strength? What a fool. Fairy Yuran couldn't help but laugh out loud. She had finally released some of the pressure she had been suppressing. Soon he will be killed by Goldwind Star Lord. Your backer is about to die. Let's see how you're going to behave then. Fairy Yuran looked at Fairy Fanyu. She had always thought that Fairy Fanyu was relying on Yi Tianyan. Now that her backer was gone, what was the point of being so arrogant? He won't die. Fairy Fanyu's eyes were filled with worry. Although that was what she said, she didn't show it on her face. She was extremely worried that Yi Tianyan would really lose. The other spectating cultivators were all gloating, especially the Sword Wind Star Lord and the others who had left earlier. They weren't in a hurry to leave. Instead, they continued to explore the area. When they saw Goldwind Star Lord, they knew that there was going to be a good show. Let's see how this guy can still be arrogant. The Sword Wind Star Lord spat in his heart. He was extremely unhappy with Yi Tianyan. Yi Tianyan had even killed him in front of him previously. Needless to say, he felt aggrieved. If it wasn't for the fact that Yi Tianyan wasn't weak, he would have wanted to fight him immediately. Now he didn't even need to do anything, and Yi Tianyan was about to be killed. This made him feel extremely carefree. When Yi Tianyan walked out, he twisted his body slightly as if he was loosening his muscles and bones. Your physical body isn't bad, but it's still not enough. Yi Tianyan said with a relaxed expression. Is this all you've got? Show me what you need to show. This little bit of power isn't enough to kill me. Looking at Yi Tianyan's indifferent expression, Goldwind Star Lord was even angrier. It seems that you won't repent until you see the coffin. Even if I don't use my full strength, I can still kill you. Goldwind Star Lord didn't use his full strength. Instead, he continued to attack with his physical body, breaking through the layers of the void and smashing towards Yi Futian. Yi Tianyan's eyes flickered. The five-colored Emperor Dragon's power in his body instantly added to the surface of his body. It glowed with a deep red light. With the power of the five-colored Emperor Dragon's bloodline, his strength stacked up. His physical body was also strengthened to a certain extent. He also didn't use his full strength. He didn't even use his Starlight Dharma idol. He was purely competing with Goldwind Star-Lord's physical body. Boom. The attacks collided again. Fairy Fanyu didn't even dare to watch. This time, she was afraid that Tianyan would be sent flying again. Indeed, that was the case. Tianyan was sent flying. However, this time he wasn't as miserable as the last time. He was only sent flying for a short distance before stabilizing in midair. This scene made everyone's eyes open wide. They didn't expect him to actually receive it. Haha again. Tianyan laughed. Instead of retreating, he took the initiative to attack. Goldwind Star-Lord was enraged. He was really provoked. He raised his strength again, and the power of metal circulated crazily. The muscles on the surface of his body were about to burst. Boom. The collision of strength. Tianyan was sent flying again. However, this time he didn't retreat too far. The distance he retreated was shorter than the last time. The key was that Goldwind Star-Lord's strength had increased this time. Instead, he retreated even closer. It was unbelievable. Even Goldwind Star-Lord found it unbelievable. Why was he getting stronger? Could it be that Tianyan was hiding his strength? Chapter 1942. Why is your strength getting stronger and stronger? Golden Wind frowned. He felt that something was amiss. Although this wasn't his full strength, his opponent didn't seem to be using his full strength either. Why was he getting closer? It's not that my strength is getting stronger. It's that you are too weak. Tianyan twisted his arm with a calm expression. These words agitated the hot-tempered Golden Wind. Instantly, his strength surged into the sky. Golden light flashed as he pushed his physical strength to its limits. He was like a shining golden statue. You are the one who is too weak. Goldwind Star Monarch's temper was easily stirred up. The next moment, he erupted with his strongest power and charged over. He was still stubborn and didn't use his astral aspect. In his opinion, he could win by using his physical strength. This was a matter of face. He felt that using more strength would lower his status and status. Hence, he didn't use his full strength. It was like facing a star disciple. Using his full strength to kill a star disciple was clearly overestimating his opponent. It would be a joke to others. Wasn't it too cowardly to use such strength against such a weak opponent? Golden Wind had always been famous, so he naturally cared about his reputation. If he could use his physical strength, he wouldn't use his full strength, much less his astral aspect. Tianyan wasn't afraid. He continued to clash head-on with Golden Wind. Boom! The two clashed once again. This time, Tianyan only retreated a few steps. In contrast, Golden Wind also retreated a few steps. They were evenly matched. This shocked everyone. It was one thing to close the gap bit by bit, but why were they evenly matched in the end? If this continued, wouldn't Golden Wind overtake Golden Wind? In a sense, Tianyan had overtaken Golden Wind in one fell swoop. Heavencloud Star-Lord has overtaken him. Fairy Fanyu was overjoyed. She thought that she would lose, but it seemed that she wouldn't lose at all. This is impossible. How can he be overtaken? Golden Wind hasn't used his full strength. This is just a contest of physical strength. Golden Wind can't possibly lose. Fairy Yuran was still stubborn. She refused to admit that Golden Wind had lost. After all, Golden Wind hadn't even used his full strength. Motherfucker, what's going on? Is this guy's body so strong? Speaking of which, didn't he just break through to the Starry Sky stage? Why is his physical body so powerful? Sword Wind Star Sovereign and the others were stunned. Originally, they were just watching Tianyan get beaten up. Now Gold Wind Star Sovereign was about to get beaten up. No matter what, they did not believe that Tianyan had just broken through to the Starry Sky stage. How could this be considered a recent breakthrough? He was clearly a late-stage Starry Sky stage. Otherwise, how could he be so strong? If they were in Tianyan's shoes, they would have been beaten to a pulp long ago. How could they be like Tianyan, who could grow stronger step by step? He must have been hiding his strength. He deliberately hid his strength, and then slowly increased his strength. Pretending to be weak, how scheming. Immediately, some people thought that they had seen through Yi Tianyun's plan. They thought that Yi Tianyun was deliberately pretending to be weak, so that he could burst out at the end and suppress them. In truth, Yi Tianyun had not deliberately shown weakness. Instead, he had truly been beaten up in the beginning. Later on, under the five-colored Emperor Dragon's power, he had constantly adapted to Goldwind Star Monarch's power, and thus he had managed to reverse the situation to a certain extent. This was the five-colored Emperor Dragon's ability, adaptation. Xiaochen knew about this ability. Coincidentally, he had a strong enemy like Goldwind Star Monarch, so he tried it out. Who knew, after trying it out, Xiaochen discovered that he could really adapt quickly, even strengthening his body. However, this was only temporary. After adapting, he could temporarily strengthen himself. After the battle, he would quickly return to his original state. If the opponent was too strong, this ability would be useless. If the opponent flattened him with one palm strike, he would not be able to adapt in time. Right now, Goldwind Star Monarch was stronger than Xiaochen. However, Xiaochen was not weak, either. As long as he could withstand it, he could activate the five-colored Emperor Dragon's ability to adapt. Correspondingly, he could also adapt to other abilities. For example, if his opponent used flames to attack him, after blocking and adapting for a few rounds, his opponent's flames would no longer be effective against him. The five-colored Emperor Dragon's ability to adapt also had a flaw. It could not truly reverse the situation. After adapting to the opponent's abilities, it would be equivalent to a tie and not reverse the situation. Of course, if it was a tie, it would not be a surprise to reverse the situation. However, Yi Tianyun just wanted to play around and test this ability. He did not want to rely on this ability to deal with Goldwind Star Monarch. In the end, he was just playing around from the beginning. If he wanted to deal with Goldwind Star Monarch, he would need a lot of abilities. It looks like you are qualified to fight me. However, this time, you won't be able to withstand it. Goldwind Star Monarch soared into the sky, and a huge phantom appeared behind him. The Golden Flow Divine Mountain Star Dharma Idol. The Golden Flow Divine Mountain was a star divine mountain. It was a level 5 star Dharma idol that was infinitely close to a level 6 star Dharma idol. After erupting, the power of metal in the world surged crazily. It was as if he was the master of the power of metal, and all the power of metal was under his control. At the same time, the power of stars above him began to circulate. Layer by layer, it reached the power of stars in all directions. As expected of the Jade Godland Star Monarch, the power of stars he controlled far surpassed other star monarchs, reaching the level of the power of stars in all directions. The moment Goldwind Star Monarch unleashed his power, he unleashed the majority of his power. He wanted to kill with one move. He chose to unleash the majority of his power in order to save face. I'm qualified to fight you. Yi Tianyun smiled faintly and said, You think I'm qualified to fight you, but I don't think you're qualified to fight me. Arrogant, arrogant. The group shook their heads. Previously, Yi Tianyun could take on Goldwind Star Monarch head-on, but that was under the condition that he did not unleash his full power. They did not know what tricks Yi Tianyun was using. In any case, he had only used a small portion of Goldwind Star Monarch's power. This was his true power. Under such circumstances, who could withstand it? You think you can win just because you can withstand a little of the power? I wonder how you cultivated to the Star Monarch level. Swordwind Star Monarch and the others shook their heads. They still believed that Goldwind Star Monarch would win. The Jade Godland Star Monarch was a legend. Fairy Yuran teased. This is the most arrogant Star Monarch I've ever seen. I wonder if his power can reach the standard of such arrogance. When he gets beaten up, he will know how harsh his words were. Everyone thought that Yi Tianyun was too arrogant, and he was too arrogant. The more he acted like this, the faster he would die. I've decided. Not only will I destroy you, but I will also destroy everyone in your faction. Goldwind Star Monarch's anger soared. It had been a long time since someone spoke to him like this. Yi Tianyun was the first. Chapter 1943. Then let's see if your power is on par with your tone. Metalwind Star Lord snorted. He turned into a divine mountain and pressed down heavily. Hurricanes and sharp blades swept up in all directions. Not a single blade of grass grew within a radius of tens of thousands of miles. This was under the condition that he deliberately suppressed his power. If he released all his power, it would reach millions of miles, or even tens of millions of miles. The effect would be the best when the power was compressed to a certain range. Not the larger the range, the better. The pressure brought by the huge star aspect made the cultivators in the distance feel extremely suppressed. They all retreated tens of thousands of miles, not daring to get too close. Although this was the range now, who knew how far it would go in the next moment? Don't worry. You will see it soon. Tianyan also flew in the sky, step by step, as if he was walking on an invisible ladder, step by step, step by step. Facing the divine mountain in the sky, he did not feel any pressure at all. Instead, he wore a smile on his face. After he took a few steps up, he suddenly grabbed at the void. Immediately, the phantom of the five-colored emperor dragon appeared in the void. It opened its huge mouth and bit forward, swallowing a small part of his opponent's star power from 8 directions. 3 directions of star power were swallowed just like that. This time, the domineering Metalwind Star Lord was greatly weakened. It should be pointed out that when the star power from 6 directions started, the multiplier would increase. Now that 3 directions of star power had been swallowed, it meant that the power had been reduced by 8 times. What? The domineering Metalwind Star Lord was stunned by this scene. He had never seen such a heaven-defying power that could swallow away his opponent's star power. Even the other Star Lords were dumbfounded. They held their breath and wondered if they were seeing things. They had seen people suppress their opponent's power, but they had never seen someone swallow their opponent's star power. This is the power of the star aspect? They held their breath. It was obvious that this was the power of the star aspect. At least, they had never seen it before. This was not the end. The star power shining down from above Tianyan expanded rapidly. The original star power from 8 directions increased to 10 directions after swallowing the star power from 3 directions. Buzz. The 5-colored Emperor Dragon's star Dharma form seemed to have been injected with more vitality, and became very dazzling. The power of the omnidirectional star power made it more active and domineering. Logically speaking, if the 8 directions star power absorbed 3 directions of star power, it should be 11 directions of star power. However, it would be more difficult to increase the power in the later stages. Although it was still a 3-fold increase in power, the higher it was, the harder it was to increase it. Therefore, it was not a simple stacking of power. 10 star force. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. When they saw the 10,000 stars enveloping them, they were all stunned. This meant that his strength would increase by a large margin. He could weaken his opponent and strengthen himself at the same time. Who could compare to such an ability? You do have some ability, but it ends here. The Goldwind Star Monarch was not afraid. With a flip of his hand, a huge hammer appeared in his grasp. The golden hammer was engraved with golden star runes, making it look like a resplendent star. And this was a star sector level weapon, a weapon that could unleash its full potential. With a weapon in hand, his strength rose steadily, and the golden domineering ring was released. He gripped the golden hammer tightly and smashed it at Tianyan. The void shattered, and the world was destroyed. Tianyan faced it head-on. However, he could only fight with his bare hands. He did not have a star sector level weapon. Star sector level weapons were extremely precious. Even ordinary Star Lords could not obtain them. They usually used low-grade treasures. Only Star Lords like the Jade God Ancestral Land could obtain such high-grade weapons. It could increase one's strength by at least 10 times or even more. Although the star power was weakened, with the support of the weapon, it was not weak. No wonder the Star Lords of the Jade God Ancestral Land were invincible. Whether it was their talent or the treasures they had, they were invincible. As for the other ancestral lands, they had all been plundered. How could there be high-grade weapons? Boom! In an instant, the world changed color, and everything turned golden. Tianyan's 5-color Emperor Dragon Phantom was suppressed by Tianyan. It had to be said that even the unique star Dharma aspect could not resist the violent power. With a series of explosions, Tianyan was smashed down again, creating a huge crater in the ground. He cut a sorry figure, and his body was covered with cuts and bruises. It had to be said that the power of this hammer was really heaven-defying. Zhao's bloodline power was strengthened by the five-colored Emperor Dragon, which made his defense extremely strong. Even so, he could not resist this power. So what if you have the unique star Dharma aspect? So what if you devour the opponent's star power? Our cultivation levels are still too low. Fairy Yuran laughed when she saw this. Previously, she had been frightened by Yi Tianyun's ability to devour the stars. Now she realized that there was no way to make up for the gap. The rest of the cultivators heaved a sigh of relief. Although they did not have a good impression of the Jade God ancestral land, it was not a good thing for an unknown existence to appear. Is this your strongest power? Still too weak. Yi Tianyun stood up shakily from the huge crater. He looked so weak. You are still so stubborn even at death's door. You are quite capable to be able to resist this move of mine. However, everything ends here. When you go down there, remember to be more low profile in your next life. You can be arrogant, but you must have the ability to match it. The Metal Wind Star Venerate swung his hammer again. It was like a golden meteor crashing down. Fairy Fanyu exclaimed. She wanted to help, but she could not. Not to mention help, she did not even have the chance to get close. Her cultivation was too low. She might be very strong outside, but against a Star Venerate, she had no choice but to stand aside. If I say that you are too weak, then you are too weak. I am an early-stage Star Venerate, and I can already do this. If I improve further, how strong do you think I will be? Yi Tianyun said indifferently. You make it sound so easy. Then show me how strong you are, idiot. The Metal Wind Star Venerate's attack did not decrease. He continued to smash down. His eyes were filled with disdain. Aside from being good at talking big, you are useless. Is that so? In that case, I will show you how strong I am. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. The energy in his body instantly increased. His cultivation took a step forward. He actually entered the middle stage Star Venerate. He broke through just like that without any difficulty. Boom. The strong energy of a Star Venerate soared into the sky. Everyone could feel that Yi Tianyun had broken through. From early stage Star Venerate to middle stage Star Venerate, it was a whole new realm. Chapter 1944. He really broke through just like that. This shocked the Metal Wind Star Monarch. It was as easy as drinking water. If there was anyone who was shocked, it would be Sword Wind Star Lord and the others. They had personally seen Yi Tianyun break through to the Star Venerate realm. Not only was he heaven-defying when he just broke through, but how long had it been? How could Yi Tianyun break through to middle stage Star Venerate already? This was simply like drinking water. And he broke through so easily, causing them to be stunned. How long has it been since he made a breakthrough? The Sword Wind Stellar Monarch and the others were shocked to learn of the truth. Others who did not know would think that Yi Tianyun had been suppressing himself for a long time, and had only broken through to middle stage Star Venerate now. Xiao Chen did not know that it had only been a few months since he broke through to early stage Star Venerate, yet he easily broke through to middle stage Star Venerate. Xiao Chen managed to break through to the middle stage in a few months. If it were another Star Venerate, they might not even be able to break through in several 100,000 years. This caused them to feel a chill in their hearts. What kind of talent and ability was needed to achieve this? After the breakthrough, the star power above Yi Tianyun skyrocketed again, from 10 square star power to 12 square star power. This meant that when the astral energy from the 8 directions broke through to middle stage Star Venerate, it increased by 2 more directions. This did not include the improvement of his basic strength. With the 2 superimposed, his strength had reached an unprecedented realm. Following that, the 2 forces collided, accompanied by an even more exaggerated explosion of power than before. The cultivators who were slightly closer were sent flying. If it was light, they would be injured. If it was heavy, they would be paralyzed on the ground and unable to move. They were already far enough away, but they didn't expect that when the 2 collided, they would still be sent flying. Such a powerful force was far beyond what they could withstand. Who won? Those who were slightly further away were not affected by the attack. Their gazes were fixed on the battlefield, waiting to see who would win in the end. Soon, the explosion dissipated and they saw Tianyan standing in the void while Goldwind Star Monarch was sent flying to the ground. The golden hammer in his hand had been knocked away and he looked very wretched. However, his body did not suffer any damage. After all, he had the power of metal. His defense was still very strong. But this already meant that he had lost. Even his weapon had been sent flying. It was the same as losing. After all, Tianyan did not have any weapons, but he still managed to win this round. This meant that he was even more overpowered. No way, Metal Wind Star Monarch lost. They were stunned. Even if he advanced from early stage Star Venerate to middle stage Star Venerate, there was still a gap between him and the Metal Wind Star Venerate. However, after Xiao Chun broke through to middle stage Star Venerate, it was like he was on steroids, erupting with startling power. This kind of explosion scared them all. They had never seen such a big explosion before. This was the effect of the basic improvement. Coupled with crazy mode, nothing was a problem. In particular, his stellar power had improved. With the combination of the two, even Goldwind Star Lord could be suppressed. However, this was considered good. At the very least, it proved that the gap between them wasn't too big. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been as simple as falling to the ground. Instead, it would have been a direct blow to the ground. Metal Wind Celestial Lord has lost. Fairy Yuran sat on the ground, paralyzed. She thought that Tianyan would lose for sure. Who knew that he would actually overtake him? He didn't lie. He is really strong. Fairy Fan Yu covered her mouth in shock. She recalled what Tianyan said earlier. It looked like he wasn't lying. He really did have this kind of ability. From the very start, everything was within his expectations. Everything was under his control. The other cultivators were also stunned. What arrogance! He had the capital to be arrogant. He had the strength to challenge the Jade God ancestral land. Now, do you think that I was wrong? Tianyan said indifferently. If my cultivation had advanced to late-stage Star Venerate, I feel that no matter how strong your physical body is, you would have been smashed to death by me with one slap. The Metal Wind Star Venerate, who was lying on the ground, had a blank look in his eyes. He was also dumbfounded. He had been very confident that he could win this round. Who knew he still lost? Moreover, he lost completely. His weapon was knocked away, and his physical body couldn't block his opponent's attack. As for his cultivation, it went without saying. He lost to Tianyan, even though he was one level higher. This feeling of disparity made him fall into a state of confusion. He had always been high and mighty, above everything. He felt that no one could compare to him. Now it was like a bucket of cold water had been poured over him. He woke up. There would always be someone stronger than him. I don't accept this. The Metal Wind Star Venerate roared and waved his hand. The golden hammer in the distance trembled and flew towards him. He was not convinced. He wanted to continue fighting with Tianyan. Even if he died, he would fight until the end. Boom. The huge golden hammer was stomped down by Tianyan. It sank into the ground and couldn't move anymore. He wouldn't let the Metal Wind Star Venerate get the golden hammer. It could increase his strength by quite a lot. Although he could still suppress him with the golden hammer, it would be much easier without it. It's time to end this. I'll destroy the Jade God ancestral land. I'll start with you. After taking control of the golden hammer, Tianyan quickly transformed into the 5-colored Emperor Dragon and pounced towards the Metal Wind Star Venerate. In his original form, his strength had increased by a lot. He quickly pounced towards the Metal Wind Star Venerate. With a wave of his claws, he tore the Star Dharma form into pieces. No Star Dharma form could withstand the tearing of a unique Star Dharma form, including the one of Metal Wind Star Venerate. After tearing it apart, it continued to press down. The Metal Wind Star Venerate's eyes were filled with the 5-colored Emperor Dragon's shadow. Everything was so hopeless. All his strength seemed futile and hopeless in front of Tianyan. Boom! Violent attacks came down, and the Metal Wind Star Venerate was constantly attacked. The first move didn't kill him, but under the continuous attacks, no matter how tough he was, he would be smashed into meat paste. Finally, under the violent attacks, the battle came to an end. The Metal Wind Star Venerate was no longer breathing. Tianyan returned to his original form and let out a deep breath. This guy is really tough. He only died after so many attacks. I really need to increase my damage. Tianyan shook his head and looted all of the Metal Wind Star Venerate's treasures. When he was done, he raised his head and looked around. The group was so scared that they took a few steps back, especially the Metal Wind Star Venerate. They had almost offended Tianyan. If they were targeted, they would be finished. Even the Metal Wind Star Venerate was killed. Who could stop him? Unless it was the other 2 star Venerates of the Jade God Ancestral Land, no one could stop him. Is the Jade God Ancestral Land really going to be flattened? Chapter 1945. Goldwind Star Monarch was killed, and everyone was paralyzed on the ground. Even such a powerful existence had been killed. Who else could stop Tianyan? Swordwind Star Monarch was even more terrified. He was glad that he hadn't gotten angry. If he had, he would have been cut down by Tianyan. He didn't think he was weak, but he was much weaker than Tianyan. Just Goldwind Star Monarch's body was enough to suppress him. Not to mention Tianyan, who was even stronger than Goldwind Star Monarch. How did this guy cultivate? He broke through so quickly. He's even stronger than Goldwind Star Monarch from the ancestral land of the Jade God. They were truly frightened by this unknown guy. Some saw Goldwind Star Monarch's death and quickly fled. They didn't want to be implicated. Only the heavens knew if Tianyan would continue to attack. After all, there were many who were making sarcastic remarks. In reality, it was true. Those who couldn't escape in time were turned to dust by a gust of wind. These were the people who had insulted Tianyan, and they were all killed by him. It wasn't that he was stingy, but that star monarchs couldn't be insulted. They were just a bunch of weaklings, and yet they dared to insult others. From the very start, their fates were already sealed. They said all these things to support Goldwind Star Monarch, and let him know that they were on the side of the ancestral land of the Jade God. Unfortunately, they had bet on the wrong person. The real winner wasn't Goldwind Star Monarch, but Tianyan. After the counterattack, they were scared out of their wits. But what would come would come. They had been completely crushed by Tianyan, and they couldn't be more dead. This kind of behavior would only leave a single sentence in their minds. Star monarchs couldn't be insulted. No one felt that there was anything wrong with this. This was to make up for their previous mistakes. Goldwind Star Monarch is dead. Goldwind Star Monarch is dead. Fairy Yuran looked at the area where Goldwind Star Monarch had been killed. Her eyes were hollow. She had thought that Tianyan would be killed, but now it seemed that she had overthought it. Tianyan had only fulfilled his previous bragging, and all of them had come true. Metal Wind Star Monarch did not take it seriously and directly crushed it. Tianyan then returned to Goddess Fan Yu's side. His wounds had already healed. With his heaven-defying bloodline, it was not a problem for him to recover from this injury. Do you believe me this time? Tianyan looked indifferently at Fairy Yuran. Fairy Yuran sat paralyzed on the ground, her eyes filled with fear. Even the powerful Metal Wind Star Lord had been killed. It was a miracle. You can't fight against the Jade God Ancestral Land. There are 2 other star sovereigns there, and they are no weaker than Goldwind Star Sovereign. In fact, they are even stronger. Fairy Yuran did not compromise. She continued to shout at Tianyan with her shrill voice. She would rather die than admit that Tianyan could crush the Jade God Ancestral Land. How could a godlike existence in their hearts be trampled to the ground? Oh, there are 2 other star sovereigns? This is not a problem, Tianyan said indifferently. Of course, I'm afraid you won't be able to see that day. If Goddess Fan Yu captured her, she would either lock her up forever and punish her, or she would be killed. It was impossible to know what would happen to Tianyan after that. Even if I die, I will wait for you down there, Fairy Yuran said as she stared at Tianyan with resentment in her eyes. Tianyan shook his head. She was really stubborn. It was not just her. Many cultivators thought the same. It was undeniable that Tianyan was very strong when he killed the Metal Wind Star Lord. However, this was not the territory of the Jade God Ancestral Land. In the Jade God Ancestral Land, they were truly invincible. There was the inheritance of the Star Venerables there. If the Star Venerables used it, they would definitely be invincible. It's almost time to leave. After killing the Metal Wind Star Lord, it was time for Etianyan to leave. It was time to leave anyway. If the Metal Wind Star Lord had not stopped him, he would have left long ago. Just as they were about to leave, a beam of light suddenly shot up from the depths of the Five Elements mountain behind them, and shone in all directions. At the same time, the heaven crystals in their hands also shone with dazzling light. It looked very strange, as if they were resonating. Strange treasures have appeared? They all looked inside, especially those who were holding the heaven crystals tightly. It seemed as if they would fly out at any moment. The heaven crystals had a special gravitational force that wanted to lead them to the innermost part. Without even thinking about it, he immediately took the heaven crystal stones and flew inside. If they wanted strange treasures, they had to take the risk. Especially if they were the first to enter first, they would be able to obtain more treasures. They could only choose to take the risk. Who knew if they could become Star Lords? Among them, the Sword Wind Star Lord and the others would not fall behind. Without thinking, they also turned into a beam of light and flew into the depths. The heaven crystals were usually used to search for the 9 Revolution Star Grass. Apart from the 9 Revolution Star Grass, there were no other similar effects. However, there was more than one 9 Revolution Star Grass. There were still other 9 Revolution Star Grass in the Five Elements mountain. The problem was that some of them were hidden very well. No one knew where they came from, or the heaven crystals did not sense anything. The heaven crystals were not omnipotent. If the distance was too far, it would not sense anything. Star-Lord Heavenly Cloud, this situation. Fairy Fanyu looked at Etianyan. Would Etianyan go in? I plan to go in and take a look. I want to see what treasures there are inside. Even the heaven crystals are reacting so intensely. The heaven crystals in Etianyan's hand flew forward once he let go. It is very possible that there are so many heaven crystals this time. There must be some special changes. Fairy Fanyu nodded. Perhaps something special had happened. Otherwise, how could there be so many heaven crystals? Furthermore, the number was so shocking. Among 10 people, at least 2 or 3 had heaven crystals. This was enough to show how many there were. In the past, not to mention 10 people, even a few thousand people might not find one. In that case, I will bring her back to the ancestral land first. When Star-Lord Heavenly Cloud returns, you must come to the Brahma ancestral land. Our Brahma ancestral land will definitely thank Star-Lord Heavenly Cloud. Fairy Fanyu did not go in. She knew her own strength. Furthermore, the most important thing now was to bring Fairy Yuran back. After all, this matter was very serious. She had to go back and investigate who else was a spy. Colluding with the Jade God ancestral land was not a good thing. Etianyan did not stop her. He did not know what would happen inside. In any case, it would be easier for him to go alone. Chapter 1946. Etianyan followed the guidance of the Celestial Stone and flew inside rapidly. He was getting faster and faster, and very soon he overtook many cultivators who went inside first. As they flew, they soon arrived outside a wall of light. Outside this wall of light, there were many cultivators who had been stopped. If he observed closely, Etianyan realized that they didn't have celestial stones, which was why they were stopped outside. It seems that the celestial stones are the key to enter. Etianyan looked at them, and all the cultivators turned their heads to the side and didn't dare to look at him. They didn't look at Etianyan, but at the other cultivators who flew over. Once they had the celestial stones, they would kill them immediately and snatch the celestial stones. The celestial stones were the key to enter, so they could only snatch them. As for searching for the celestial stones, even if there were many of them, they had to search for them. They didn't want to waste any time, so the best way was to snatch them. For a moment, the celestial stones were the targets of snatching. Some of them didn't even react before they were surrounded by the other cultivators, and they all charged at them. Those with weak cultivation could only be killed. Etianyan was powerful, so naturally, no one dared to target him. Everyone had seen Etianyan's previous strength. Unless they were kicked in the head by a donkey, or it was their first time seeing Yi Tianyan, they wouldn't attack him. Yi Tianyan didn't pay attention to them and walked inside. As expected with the celestial stones, he could easily pass through the light wall and enter. As soon as he entered, he was greeted by the sight of multicolored stones that enveloped the entire area. It looked like countless five-colored gems were piled up in the area, and everyone was dazzled. Such rich crystals. Every one of them contains a lot of energy. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. Just these five-colored divine stones alone were worth a lot. Of course, if he came in, he wouldn't be aiming for these five-colored divine stones. They were worth a lot, but they were far from the level of treasures. They were only at the level of currency. Their value could only be considered acceptable, but definitely not high. As far as the eye could see, the first batch of cultivators who entered did not pay any attention to the five-colored divine stones. Their cultivations were all at the level of Master Xing, so this small amount of money was really meaningless to them. Unless they were given a lot of time one day, they could casually empty out all the five-colored divine stones here. However, the Five Elements Mountain wouldn't give them unlimited time. If they continued like this, the Five Elements Mountain would soon close. Yi Tianyan glanced around and continued to fly inside. When the Heaven Crystal Stone came in, it no longer had any guiding power. It seemed that the mission had been completed, and the rest was up to them. As he went deeper and deeper, he sensed energy fluctuations coming from the inside before he got too deep into the area. Soon after, several corpses flew over and turned into countless pieces in front of him. A blood-curdling scream came from the front as well. For a moment, the energy coming from the front didn't show any signs of stopping. Yi Tianyan narrowed his eyes and looked ahead carefully. He found that there was a large group of monsters with green fur in front of him. They were constantly tearing through the cultivators. They were either tearing the cultivators apart or grabbing them and biting them. The key was that there were a lot of them. There were at least hundreds of them, and all of them were at the level of Master Xing. What race is this? Yi Tianyan's eyes narrowed. Before he could take a closer look, he heard a cry of surprise. This is the Green Demon Clan. Why are there green demons here? Quick run. Damn it, it's the Green Demon Clan. Why are such ferocious demons here? Didn't they say that they would be exterminated? When the cultivators who followed behind saw the Green Demon Clan, they were so scared that they ran toward the exit. They seemed to have forgotten about the rare treasures at this moment. If you wanted the rare treasures, you first had to be alive to take them. Who would dare to approach these ferocious green demons? Green Demon Clan? Yi Tianyan was startled. He suddenly remembered that the records he had read before were about the Green Demon Clan. Generally speaking, the Green Demon Clan was one of the races. However, the Green Demon Clan was extremely ferocious and was completely a demon clan. When they encountered other races, they would attack fiercely and would never show any mercy. In the past, because of the Green Demon Clan's anger, they were crazily slaughtered, and in the end, they were basically exterminated. They thought that they had basically disappeared. Who knew that they would reappear in the Five Elements Mountain? Looking at the number, Yi Tianyan suspected that this place was used to seal the Green Demon Clan and trap them here. Yi Tianyan didn't run away. He continued to fly forward. When the Green Demon Clan in front of him saw him, their eyes glowed with green light. With a roar, they rushed toward him. Kill. They quickly rushed over, wanting to kill Yi Tianyan. As long as they were outsiders, they would be included in the list of people to be killed. Die. Yi Tianyan took a step forward, and the phantom of the five-colored king dragon burst out, killing a group of Green Demon Clan that rushed over. In the blink of an eye, dozens of Green Demon Clan that rushed over were trampled to death. The rest were so scared that they retreated. It's a star venerate. Moreover, it's a star venerate with a unique star Dharma idol. They were so scared that they quickly retreated. No matter how ferocious they were, they would still be afraid. The horrifying power easily trampled them to pieces like tofu. Yi Tianyan didn't show any mercy. He continued to step forward, trampling them to pieces. In a short while they were all dead. However, after killing them, Yi Tianyan felt a sharp gaze from a distance. He looked up and saw several starships made of 5-colored divine stones. Then he saw a few star boats that were forged from 5-colored divine stones in the distance. Quite a few green devils were on board, and one of them was a green devil in green armor, who was staring at him coldly. So many green demons. Etienne narrowed his eyes. There were at least several thousand star venerates in this group. Among them, the green demon who was staring at him was a late-stage star venerate. He gave off a feeling that he was even stronger than Metal Wind star venerate. The cultivators following behind Etienne were scared out of their wits. They thought that with so many green demons killed, they could finally search for treasures in peace. But now, it seemed that was not the case. There were so many green demons, and they couldn't kill them all. It was as if they had entered the Green Demon clan's lair. This place was full of green demons, and their cultivation was extremely high. What is in the 5 Elements mountain? I'd better go first. Whoever comes, he will come. I also need to go quickly. If I'm late, I'm afraid it will be too late. Damn it, why are there so many green demons? Chapter 1947. They didn't know when the green demons had surrounded them. There were already enough green demons in front of them, but they didn't expect more green demons to surround them so quickly. There were hundreds of green demons in front of them and hundreds behind them. There were probably thousands of green demons in total. The shocking number of green demons shocked them. How could there be so many green demons in the 5-element mountain? Could it be that this place wasn't a sealed place, but a lair of the green demons? It's over, we can't escape. Their hearts sank. How could they escape now? There was almost nowhere to run. All their paths of retreat were blocked. How could they escape? So many green demons. Is this your lair? Etienne's expression was indifferent. Facing so many green demons, his expression didn't change. This wasn't a big problem for him. He was curious about why there were so many green demons here, and why so many celestial crystals had suddenly appeared. Bold cultivators, you have trespassed into our territory. Why aren't you kneeling and apologizing with your death? The green demon in front shouted at Etienne, not afraid of Etienne's power at all. In their opinion, as long as their king was here, there was nothing to be afraid of. Your territory? Etienne looked around and said indifferently, I don't think this is your territory. This is the 5-element mountain, our territory. Bullshit. This isn't the 5-element mountain, it's the green godly land. This is the territory of our people. It has been occupied by you cultivators. That's why it has become like this. The guard in front shouted and corrected Etienne. Oh, the green godly land. Etienne's eyes flashed and he sneered. So what? There is no hatred for no reason in this world. You green demons are not good people either. Killing lives at will is not good. The weak are prey to the strong. You are too weak and are destined to be ruled by us. That's right, the green demon godchild is the ruler of this area. The green demon godchild is invincible. The guards roared as if they were on steroids. Their morale soared. Green demon godchild, huh? Interesting. Etienne looked at the celestial lord sitting leisurely on one of the astral boats. It seemed that this was the green demon godchild. Usually, the most talented geniuses in a faction would be called the god's son. It seemed that the green demon godchild was extremely talented. However, for him to break through to late-stage star venerate, his talent naturally could not be weak. A bunch of weak cultivators. Get rid of them. Don't let them tarnish our holy land, the green demon godchild said. He gently waved his hand and signaled for them to destroy the group of cultivators in front of him. With a command, a group of green devil race members rushed forward, and Grandmaster Xing's power erupted. The strange thing was that they didn't have a star Dharma idol. They were simply using their power to attack. However, this was already strong enough. With a strong physique, strong power, and being nourished by the 5-colored divine stone every day, the situation would not be bad no matter what. As far as they were concerned, breaking through to Grandmaster Xing's cultivation was simply as easy as drinking water. If they soaked in the 5-colored divine stone every day, it would be hard for them not to break through to Grandmaster Xing's cultivation. In an instant, a large number of green devil race members rushed forward. The group of cultivators turned pale. They wanted nothing but to go back. However, it was too late for regrets. They didn't even have the chance to escape. Soon, they were surrounded by a group of Green Devil race members. As for Etienne's side, they were also surrounded by a group of Green Devil race members. However, there was a huge difference between the two. One side was fighting to the death, while Etienne's side was quickly sweeping through. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of Green Devil race members were killed. After killing them, he immediately turned around and went to support the cultivators. As a beam of light shot out, the Green Devil race members who were attacking the cultivators were easily destroyed. The rescued cultivators immediately shed tears of gratitude. They didn't expect Etienne to help them. "Thank you, my lord. Thank you, my lord." As they expressed their gratitude, they retreated. Right now, they could only express their gratitude. There was nothing else they could do to repay him. If they were too late, it would be too late. Looking at their backs as they left, Etienne didn't pay them any attention. Getting rid of them, apart from destroying the Green Devil race, was also because they were cultivators. Staying with these cultivators was better than staying with the Green Devil race. Hundreds of Green Devil race members were killed. The Green Devil race members who were about to rush over were so scared that they retreated. Their morale was greatly reduced. They thought that with so many of them, they would definitely be able to exhaust Etienne to death. Who knew that they would be easily killed by him? He's not weak. The Green Devil Son of God didn't show any anger at the fact that so many of his subordinates had been killed. However, that's all there is to his strength. You cultivators think that you're really invincible and that no one can stop you? Your level is only about the same as his. The Green Devil Son of God waved his hand in the void. A head flew out and fell from the sky. Finally, it fell to the ground and smashed into a pile of meat paste. Etienne casually glanced at it. When it fell to the ground and turned into a pile of meat paste, he already saw who it was. The Sword Wind Star Venerate. The Sword Wind Star Venerate, who was charging at the front, died just like that. Furthermore, he was killed by the Green Devil Son of God. Although he wouldn't die if he kept his head, if his soul was extracted, it would be useless even if he kept his head. Etienne casually glanced at it, and knew that the Sword Wind Star Venerate's soul had been extracted. The Green Devil Son of God probably swallowed it. Although the Sword Wind Star Venerate wasn't strong, he was still a Star Venerate. In such a short time, the Sword Wind Star Venerate was killed and his soul was extracted. This was enough to show how strong he was. Oh, his cultivation is just at the bottom of the list. Etienne shrugged, and said with an indifferent attitude, "Bottom." The Green Devil Son of God's eyes narrowed. He couldn't tell if Etienne was telling the truth or lying. He said that just to scare his opponent. He didn't expect the Sword Wind Star Venerate to be the weakest Star Venerate. This gave him a headache. He spoke lightly, but the Sword Wind Star Venerate was really not weak. Although he could kill him, it would still take some effort. If this was the weakest, then what would the strongest be? The main thing was that they couldn't get out. If they did, how could they resist the terrifying environment outside? That's right. He's the bottom. Etienne said indifferently. Even your cultivation can only be considered average outside below average. Chapter 1948. My strength is only below average? The Green Demon Divine Son narrowed his eyes in disbelief. That's right. Your strength is only below average. Killing our weakest Star Venerate is simply pointless. Etienne said with a smile. Our strongest Star Lords don't even bother coming in. If they all came in, do you think they could talk to me up there? We have more than 1,000 Star Lords alone. What's the point of killing those at the bottom? Etienne did not even need to prepare a draft when he was bragging. How could there be more than 1,000 Star Lords outside? At most, there would not be more than 1,000 Star Lords. Everything he said was to scare them, and at the same time, to probe the situation. Impossible. The Green Demon Divine Son retorted. How can a Star Lord break through so easily? You're just spouting nonsense. We have the nourishment of the 5-colored Divine Stone here. We don't have more than 10 Star Lords, but you have more than 1,000. It's impossible. If you think it's impossible, that's your problem. If you can go out and take a look. Then, you'll know how many strong people we have outside. We have dozens of star venerables, not to mention star lords. Tianyun laughed loudly. He was full of lies, and he could not stop. Dozens of star venerables? The green demon divine son's pupils constricted. He knew what star venerables meant. If there were dozens of them, how could they rule when they attacked? They would be exterminated soon after they left. That's right. We have dozens of star venerables. What's wrong? You don't dare go out? Tianyun looked at him mockingly. How dare you, outsider? Our divine son is invincible. We can't lose to you. No matter how many star lords there are. Our divine son can exterminate them. That's right. Our divine son is invincible. This guy is just spouting nonsense. It can't be true. Our divine son is truly invincible. He is a real star lord. They refused to believe it. They all thought Tianyun was lying. The green demon divine son waved his hand to signal his subordinates to quiet down. What a joke. Why wouldn't I dare go out? Once we break this seal, we will go out and trample you all to the ground. The green demon godchild was not easily fooled. Those who had to go out would go out eventually. By the way, the one who set up the seal here is one of the weaker ones among us. Tianyun added. If it had been someone else, not to mention breaking the seal, I'm afraid not many of you would have survived. Tianyun's mocking expression scared them all. Is that so? I'm looking forward to it. You've sealed us for so long, now it's our turn to punish you. The green demon godchild did not retreat. Instead, he stood up and said with a cold gaze, Then I'll start with you. In reality, he was still a little worried. He couldn't tell if Tianyun was telling the truth, but no matter what, he couldn't back down. With so many subordinates looking at him, if he chose to retreat, wouldn't that mean that he was afraid? If he was afraid, his prestige here would definitely drop. The green demon divine son took a step forward, and a green demon divine star appeared behind him. Even though there were layers of seals here, the green demon divine star could still be seen. It was a level 6 star Dharma idol. Well, there's a star Dharma idol. Tianyun had thought that none of them had a star Dharma idol, but he could still see a star Dharma idol on the green demon divine sun. However, only the green demon divine sun had a star Dharma idol. Tianyun guessed that it was because this place was sealed, and it was difficult to communicate with the power of stars, so they couldn't obtain a star Dharma idol. If one wanted to obtain a star Dharma idol, they had to meet certain conditions. In other words, they had to pay a certain price to achieve it. It had to be said that someone who could trap such a ferocious race here must be a supreme expert of the generation. This level of cultivation wasn't something that a star venerable could achieve. Only existences with a higher level of cultivation could achieve this. Star venerables were strong, but that didn't mean they could steal the sky and replace the sun. Suppressing a race for a long time, even suppressing the star Dharma idol, was probably something only star venerables or higher, or even extremely late-stage star venerables could achieve. However, when one broke through to the star venerable realm, the power of stars grasped could really interfere with a race's situation. However, it was difficult to even awaken a star Dharma idol, so one had to be at a higher level to achieve this. After the star Dharma idol erupted, the green demon divine sun's power increased greatly. His whole body was covered in green hair, and he looked very strange. It was like a huge piece of seaweed, constantly wriggling. This was actually a kind of mutated wood element power. It had the ability to devour the cultivator's life force. At the same time, it also had a strong healing ability. After all, the wood element had a healing effect, and it could last a long time in a fight. No wonder the Sword Wind Star Lord could kill him so easily. Even if the Metal Wind Star Lord came, he would probably be suppressed by the Green Demon Divine Sun. When Tianyun saw the Green Demon Divine Sun pouncing over, he shook his head. With one look, he could tell that the Green Demon Divine Sun was not simple. No wonder he had been conferred the title of Divine Sun here. Just his level 6 star Dharma idol was enough for him to look down on everyone. Before him, the Metal Wind Star Lord was nothing. However, it was unknown how strong the Green Demon Clan's foundation was. In any case, he was suppressed now, so it was hard to say. Speaking of which, this was the first time he had seen a level 6 star Dharma idol. The vast star energy was many times more powerful than the star energy of a level 5 star energy. The green demon divine sun did not even need to use the star power, but he already had a strong power. The astonishing green demon god star had given him a heaven-defying physique, as well as a powerful healing ability. Surrender, foolish cultivator. The green demon divine sun opened his hand. With the support of the star Dharma idol, an incomparably majestic palm came crashing down. All the life force in the surroundings was quickly sucked dry. It could instantly suck dry a star master. Even a star venerate's life force would be sucked out bit by bit. If the battle continued, he would definitely lose. The green demon divine sun is invincible. The green demon divine sun is invincible. Level 6 star Dharma idol. Level 6 star Dharma idol is invincible. Their subordinates shouted. When they saw the green demon divine sun erupt with power, they all became excited. Such a strong power made them worship him to the extreme. Looks like this battle will have to be fought properly. Yi Tianyan was on his guard. He did not think that this battle would be easy. Judging from this move, the green demon divine sun was far stronger than the metal wind star lord. He was really as strong as a half-step star venerable. Chapter 1949. The green demon godchild covered the sky with a giant palm and an extremely strong devouring power, wanting to suck Yi Tianyan dry in an instant. As his power exploded, his subordinates became even more excited and wanted to kneel on the spot. However, Yi Tianyan naturally would not let him do as he wished. A grade 6 star aspect? You are still a frog in a well. Yi Tianyan's eyes turned cold as he leaped into the sky. The unique star aspect of the 5-colored emperor dragon behind him was instantly released. It was even more dazzling, and an even larger star aspect erupted. The unique star aspect that was displayed in the star domain in the sky suppressed the green demon godchild in one fell swoop. The appearance of the unique star aspect stunned them all. They had never seen a star aspect that was more powerful than the green demon godchild's. The green demon godchild's star aspect was considered a top-notch existence in the green demon race. The only one that could compare to it was the patriarch who had died a long time ago. Now his talent was the most amazing, and he was known as the new hope of the green demon race. With such a powerful green demon godchild leading them, they would definitely be able to reach the peak. They would even be able to break out and capture all the cultivators outside in one fell swoop. Fantasies were beautiful, but reality was cruel. Before they could even attack, they saw an even stronger unique star aspect. This was a legendary and unique existence that was above all the other star aspects. This was the true aura of a king and the demeanor of a king. Unique star aspect. The green demon godchild was shocked. He had never thought that there would be a unique star aspect. It was a legendary existence. He had always heard of it, but he had never seen it. Now it was right in front of him, which made him feel extremely shocked. As soon as the unique star aspect appeared, it immediately suppressed the power of the green demon godchild. The difference between the two was not very big. The unique star aspect was basically equivalent to a grade 6 star aspect. The difference was that there was no second unique star aspect, which made it even more special. After all, if they met an opponent with the same star aspect, it would be more troublesome. After all, they had the same power, and it was basically the same person. Therefore, the unique star aspect could be said to be the dream of everyone. Only then could they show their uniqueness. However, this did not happen to him, but to Yi Tianyan. However, he had the 6th level star Dharma idol, which was already above most of the others. It was not unique, but it was definitely the only one in a trillion. Before he had obtained the unique star Dharma aspect, he had thought that even if he were to go up against a unique star Dharma aspect, he would still be able to suppress his opponent. After all, in terms of information, there wasn't much of a difference between the two. Now the cruel reality had turned into a ruthless slap in his face. The difference between the two wasn't big. It was as big as a dog. Yi Tianyan's Dharma idol, which was unique to Yi Tianyan, was greatly weakened by the pressure. Even his aura was weakened. That's right, it's a unique star Dharma idol. However, in the outside world, there are no less than 100 people who have unique star Dharma idols. I'm just at the bottom of the pile. Tianyan lied again just to scare them. At the same time, the five-colored Emperor Dragon behind him tore apart the green demon godchild's attack with a crushing force. At the same time, the five-colored Emperor Dragon swung its tail and sent the green demon godchild flying. Boom! The green demon godchild smashed into the area full of five-colored divine stones and blasted a big hole. In the first exchange, the green demon godchild had been sent flying and was at a disadvantage. Many of his subordinates' hearts sank. If Tianyan was not lying, then with such a strong force, he was still at the bottom of the pile outside. How could they go out? If they really went out, wouldn't they die? I want you to die, die, die. The green demon godchild roared. A beam of green light shot into the sky, and the injuries on his body healed quickly. His green hair was even more exuberant, and it looked like he was wrapped up in a ball of green hair. At the same time, the power of the stars above began to flicker wildly. Suddenly, the power of the stars shrouded him from all directions and began to strengthen him. The green demon godchild was indeed the green demon godchild. He could control the power of the stars from all directions, and was much stronger than the Starlords outside. If they really went out, the outside world would really be occupied by them. Power of the stars from all directions? That's not enough. Tianyan laughed. The five-colored Emperor Dragon behind him opened its mouth and swallowed fiercely. Devour the starry sky. Even the star power condensed by the level 6 starry Dharma idol was swallowed in one bite. The opponent did not even have a chance to resist before it was swallowed. In the blink of an eye, the star power that enveloped the green demon godchild was reduced by 3 directions. At the same time, it was quickly converted into Tianyan's star power. 13 directions star power. The explosive 13 directions star power instantly shrouded the five-colored Emperor Dragon and plated it with a thick layer of silver. It was as if a galaxy was attached to it, dazzling and resplendent. The stronger the star power, the stronger the power of the five-colored Emperor Dragon. Vaguely, this illusion seemed to have the effect of materializing. This was different from the fusion of Tianyan and the starry Dharma idol. The two were fighting side by side. What? The green demon godchild was shocked once again. Not only had his star power been devoured, but his opponent could also use it for his own use. Wasn't this a monster? Submit to me. Tianyan's aura that looked down on the world was released in all directions. The legs of a group of green demons turned to jelly, and many of them knelt on the ground. They would only kneel to the elders and the others, but in the face of the powerful power released by Tianyan, they could not even stand steadily. The green demon godchild did not admit defeat. He quickly waved his palm to block, but it was too late. He had underestimated his opponent too much. He did not even take out his weapon before he was slapped down by Tianyan. He was directly slapped to the ground. The hard ground cracked from his kneeling, and looked like it was going to collapse at any time. Kneel down and submit. Tianyan's eyes turned cold. He continued to apply pressure with his palm, forcing the green demon godchild to kneel in front of him. The green demon godchild held on, and refused to kneel no matter what. It was already a great humiliation to kneel, let alone to kneel. I can't accept this. The green demon godchild roared and wanted to jump up, but the terrifying power continued to pressure him, making it difficult for him to move. Surrender. Tianyan's hand continued to press down, and the arms that the green demon godchild used to support himself on the ground exploded. He fell to the ground and knelt in front of Tianyan, as if he was kneeling in front of Tianyan. In an instant, everyone's faces turned pale. The green demon godchild that they were so proud of was now kneeling in front of an outsider. It was definitely a great humiliation. Chapter 1950. The green demon godchild had knelt down in front of all his subordinates. Even if he wasn't willing, kneeling in front of Tianyan was a foregone conclusion. This humiliation would definitely be imprinted on the green demon race, and it would be difficult to erase it. especially since it was the green demon godchild and not any other green demon race. The green demon godchild was the current representative of the green demon race, but he was kneeling in front of Tianyin. It was a great humiliation. This move is so useful. The stronger the opponent, the more I can devour. Tianyin's eyes flashed. The green demon godchild's star power quality was not low. After devouring it, it would increase his star power by 3 units. If he devoured a lower grade star power, it would be good if he could increase his star power by 1 or 2 units with his current foundation. I'm going to kill you. The green demon godchild lay on the ground, unable to even lift his head. Under this pressure, his body was constantly bursting with wounds, and dark green blood flowed out. However, with his powerful healing ability, the wounds would heal again after bursting, so he wouldn't die so quickly. All he could do now was let out a low roar, yelling for revenge against Tianyin. Other than that, he had no other way to struggle. Is that so? Then go to hell now. Tianyin pressed down with his hand, and his power increased again. Even though his healing ability was strong, under the powerful destructive power, he could still be killed. In particular, he mobilized the strongest power of fire. The extreme heat followed his power, and entered the green demon godchild's body, igniting the green demon godchild's flammable wood element. Fire countered wood. It was a foregone conclusion from the beginning. How dare you, outsider! Stop! An earth-shattering roar came from the depths of the ground. At the same time, a terrifying force pressed down, trying to save the green demon godchild. But it was too late. Tianyin's cold eyes showed that he was determined to kill Green Devil Godson, even if he had to sacrifice everything. If such a monstrous genius continued to live, he would definitely be a threat to cultivators. Although the lives of others had nothing to do with him. Once this guy became stronger, he would also be a threat to his forces. Therefore, he wasn't doing this for others, but for himself. Letting him go was absolutely impossible. He had never had a habit of doing so. Die. Bear. Surging flames instantly filled the body of the green demon godchild. The merciless flames devoured his power, and the extremely strong wood element was like an accelerant, making him burn even faster. "Ah, Father, save me!" After the green demon godchild shouted. It was already his last breath. By the time the intercepting attack arrived in front of Tianyin, the green demon godchild had been reduced to a pile of ashes. When the palm arrived in front of Tianyin could only hurriedly counterattack. He had used all his power to suppress the green demon godchild, so he naturally had no spare power to protect himself. It looked like he had easily suppressed the green demon godchild, but in fact he had used all his strength. He did not dare to be careless. Boom. Tianyin took the attack head-on, and the powerful force sent him flying in one fell swoop. He broke several thick 5-colored divine stones in a row, before he finally stopped. What a powerful force. Tianyin came down from the 5-colored divine stone. His body was sore, as if it had almost fallen apart. He raised his head and saw a middle-aged man of the green demon race, standing in the middle of the pile of ashes. He reached out and grabbed the ashes, his body trembling. He must be the father of the green demon godchild. He was the king of the green demon clan, the green demon holy king. He felt a terrifying power from the green demon holy king, which far surpassed the green demon godchild's power. However, his cultivation was not at the star venerable realm. It was possible that his power was very close to the star venerable realm, or he had a terrifying bloodline in his body that made him so terrifying. "You killed my son." The green demon holy king scattered the green ashes in his hand. There was pain in the depths of his eyes, but more of it was anger. His son was extremely talented and had a level 6 star Dharma idol. He was definitely the future hope of the Green Demon clan, the leader of the Green Demon clan. Even the Green Demon Holy King's star idol was only at level 5. It was not at level 6 yet. After all, the one who had a level 6 star idol was the dead great ancestor. This meant that apart from the Green Demon Godchild, no one else had a level 6 star idol. At most, it was level 5. Now that the Green Demon Godchild was dead, it meant that there was no hope. What pained him more was the disappearance of hope, not the pain of losing his son. The green demon godchild had spent a lot of resources to nurture him, but he was gone just like that. How could the green demon godchild not feel pain? So what if I killed him? Am I supposed to stand here and be killed by him? Etienne said calmly. He was extremely vigilant and kept staring at the green demon holy king. Although the green demon holy king only had a level 5-star idol, it did not mean that he was weak. As a demon lord, his power was definitely not simple. Yes, do what he tells you to do. The green demon holy king stretched out his hand and clenched it. The life force in the surroundings trembled crazily. Even the power in Etienne's body was extracted. Now it is time for you to go down with him. As he clenched his hand, a huge shadow appeared behind the green demon holy king. A heavenly demon star floated behind him. The star power displayed by the 5th grade star Dharma idol was 12 cubic meters of star power. Not only that, but there was a terrifying power in his body that kept being released. Behind the star idol, there was another layer of power. This layer of power seemed to have surpassed Star Lords and reached an even higher level. Star Venerate blood? Etienne's eyes narrowed. His appraisal I immediately saw through the buried power. It was the Star Venerate blood. The green demon holy king actually had the Star Venerate blood in his body and could use it. Looks like you are quite capable. You can even see that I have the Star Venerate blood. Surprise appeared in the green demon holy king's eyes, but he quickly calmed down. I do have the Star Venerate blood in my body. It was left behind by my ancestor and is under my control. This means that you are not facing a Star Lord but a Star Venerate. The green demon holy king snorted coldly. The Star Venerate's power soared into the sky. The originally dusky sky that still had some light instantly turned pitch black. This was the power to change the world. The power of a Star Venerate could move mountains and fill seas with just a slight movement. It could do anything. What a joke. Etienne sneered. A Star Lord is a Star Lord in the end. Do you really think you are a Star Venerate just because you have a drop of blood? Who gave you such a good idea? Not to mention a drop of Star Venerate blood. Even if you have 10 drops, I will still kill you. Chapter 1951. Naive to naive. Do you really think this is all the Star Venerable's blood can do? Mortals will always be mortals. You've never felt the power of a Star Venerable, so you think a Star Venerable is insignificant. The green demon holy king looked at Etienne with a sorrowful gaze, as if he was looking at an ignorant person. Everything was so insignificant. A Star Venerable is naturally not weak, but if a real Star Venerable was in front of me, I might be a bit afraid. But it's just a drop of blood, and you think you're invincible? You're the ignorant one. Etienne did not hold back. He immediately mobilized the 5-colored Emperor Dragon's power, and quickly transformed into his main body. Although he thought a drop of blood was nothing, the green demon holy king was a powerful expert, so how could he not be cautious? After transforming into the main body of the 5-colored Emperor Dragon, he used the devouring starry sky move to bite off a portion of the star power above the green demon holy king, directly devouring the star power in all directions. This was domineering. It devoured the star power in all directions in one go, which was equivalent to 1/3 of the star power. Thinking about it carefully, it had always been at this level before. They had all devoured 1/3 of the opponent's power, and turned it into their own. Now Etienne immediately had 14 blocks of star power, and he was even more domineering than before. The silver light scattered, and the 5-colored Emperor Dragon's body became more solid. The domineering dragon power roared out in all directions. All demonic beasts had to bow their heads before him. This ability, as expected of a unique Star Dharma idol. The green demon holy king's eyes were filled with shock. It was the first time he had seen such a domineering ability. In theory, it was the second time. When the green demon divine son was fighting, he had paid some attention to the situation here. When he saw the danger, it was too late. The green demon divine son had already been killed. But that's all. The Star Venerable's blood in the green demon holy king's body was taken out. A mere drop of blood floated in front of him. It looked like a simple drop of blood, but it contained extremely destructive power. If I didn't have this Star Venerable's blood, I might really have lost to you. Unfortunately, I have this Star Venerable's blood. From the beginning, victory was mine. The Green Demon Holy King did not underestimate his opponent. He knew very well how powerful his son was. Even his son was killed so easily. That person was definitely very strong. Under such circumstances, he would be a fool if he still underestimated his enemy. If he was a fool, he would not have become the Sage King here. Then he flicked his finger, and the drop of Star Venerable's blood quickly fused into his head. The next moment, a terrifying force shot up to the sky. The phantom behind him roared, and the astral power above him increased. Not only did it replenish the astral power that had been devoured, but it also exploded to 15 cubic meters of astral power. 15 cubic meters of astral power was an even more shocking threshold. The heavenly demon star behind him became semi-solid and possessed the power to destroy heaven and earth. What was even more shocking was that the light that burst out from the star domain was actually able to suppress the unique star Dharma idol. Even the most heaven-defying and unique star Dharma idol would be suppressed by such a terrifying force, unable to lift its head. This was the difference in power. In the face of such great power, even the unique star Dharma idol had to bow its head. Insignificant ant. The Green Demon Holy King looked at Yi Tianyan, who had transformed into the five-colored Emperor Dragon. He waved his hand, and a giant heavenly demon palm pressed down. Yi Tianyan went up to meet the attack and collided with the heavenly demon palm. The reality was very cruel. The giant five-colored Emperor Dragon, the insufferably arrogant five-colored Emperor Dragon, was slapped to the ground by the giant heavenly demon palm. Boom! A violent explosion rose up, and the green demons on the side were sent flying. It was an extremely terrifying power. Even though they were far away, they were still sent flying by the shockwaves. In this place, Grandmaster Xing was the real ant. He could be casually sent flying. Yi Tianyan was slapped to the ground. Many of the dragon scales on his body were broken, and he was seriously injured. The next second, his body quickly shrank back, and he turned back into his own body. He was already covered in blood, and he looked very embarrassed. Just one move had caused him to be seriously injured, and he had been easily abused. This was the difference in power. Just a drop of blood could make the Green Demon Holy King's power reach the Star Venerable level in an instant. This meant that Yi Tianyan wasn't facing a Star Venerable, but a Star Venerable. Star Venerable, Star Venerable. The more star power he controlled, the more powerful he would be. Yi Tianyan's power seemed very insignificant in front of this terrifying power. Even if it was a five-colored Emperor Dragon, it was still slapped down. How is it? Do you feel how insignificant you are? The Green Demon Holy King looked at him with disdain, but he was still a little surprised. He thought that he could kill Yi Tianyan with his palm. He didn't expect him to persevere, but this was no different from death. If he continued, Yi Tianyan would definitely die. The Green Demon Holy King is invincible. The Green Demon Holy King is invincible. The Green Demon Holy King is too strong. The Green Demon Holy King is going to avenge the Green Demon Divine Son. Kill them all! Kill them all! They all screamed and cheered for the Green Demon Holy King's power. The Divine Son of the Green Demon race had been killed, and they were as sullen as they could be. Now they could finally vent their frustrations. The Green Demon race was invincible and undefeatable. No, I only see how insignificant you are. Yi Tianyan smiled calmly. He didn't care about the injuries on his body at all. He wasn't the one who was injured. Shameless boasting. It seems that you still don't know your own situation, even when death is at hand. The Green Demon Holy King was about to say something when he looked up, and found that there was a rumbling sound coming from outside. It seemed that something was starting to close. It's going to close so soon this time? Yi Tianyan's eyes narrowed. This meant that the gate of the five-element mountain was about to close, and he wouldn't be able to get out. However, he couldn't leave even if he wanted to. The Green Demon Holy King in front of him wouldn't let him go. At the same time, the situation outside the five-element mountain started to change. Groups of cultivators quickly flew out from inside, not daring to stay any longer. If he continued to stay inside, he would probably die inside. Unless their cultivation was very strong, they wouldn't dare to play around inside. They're out. Isn't the 5-element mountain closing too soon this time? That's not the point. There are groups of green demon race inside the 5-element mountain. What's going on? Are those green demon race sealed inside? Why are there so many? When I escaped, I saw that arrogant Star Lord fighting with the green demon race. It seems that he's being suppressed. Looks like this guy is dead for sure. He can't escape. Chapter 1952. This time, the gate of 5-element mountain was closed a little earlier. However, looking at the overall time, it wasn't too much earlier. It was just a little bit earlier. When a group of Star Masters and Star Lords escaped, many of them had lingering fears. They had all entered and seen the situation of the Green Demon Clan. Some of them had just entered, but they were scared by the aura of Tianyun and the Green Demon Holy King. They didn't dare to go further. As more and more people came out, 5-element mountain was closed completely. The fog outside became thicker and shrouded the whole area. Now anyone who wanted to break in would definitely get lost. If they didn't come out now, they basically wouldn't be able to come out. They could only wait for the next opening. Everyone looked around and didn't find Tianyun's figure. That arrogant Star Venerate is indeed trapped inside. I guess he's not trapped inside, he's dead inside. Didn't that arrogant Star Lord say he wanted to challenge the ancestral land of the Jade God? Now he's dead inside, there's nothing to see. Challenge the ancestral land of the Jade God? He can't even kill the Green Demon Clan. How can he challenge the ancestral land of the Jade God? Yeah, the ancestral land of the Jade God is much stronger than the declining Green Demon Clan. Now he's probably dead inside and can't come out. A group of people are constantly talking about Tianyun. They don't have a good impression of Tianyun, and they are all gloating over his misfortune. Han Long and the others who had escaped felt their hearts sink when they heard this. But Han Long reacted swiftly, and he immediately brought Qingxue along to hide at the side, and didn't dare stay here in the slightest. If someone didn't like Tianyun and recognized them, they would definitely suffer. I want to wait for Lord to come out. Qingxue struggled and didn't want to be dragged away by Han Long. If we want to wait, we should wait in a corner. If we are found by Lord's enemies, I'm afraid we won't live to see the day Lord comes out. Han Long was very calm. A true loyal servant didn't have to stubbornly die. Waiting here for Tianyun to come out was a good choice. Qingxue's jaw dropped as she looked around at the cultivators from the Jade Divinity Ancestral Land, and realized that Han Long was right. If he acted recklessly, he wouldn't even know how he died. Fairy Fan Yu also came out. She did not say anything after hearing the news. She brought the sinner back to the ancestral ground and sped up. Let's go back and tell the elder about the situation, and see if we can go in and find him when there's a mist. Fairy Fan Yu was in a hurry to go back, not to run away from here. As someone from Tianfan Ancestral Land, no one would find trouble with her. More than anything else, she wanted to find a way to save him. However, what they were discussing here was that Tianyun was doomed. Even if the 5 Elements Mountain was opened, he would still die inside. After all, they had to face so many Green Devil race members inside. How could they possibly survive? Some were emotional, some were gloating, and some felt extremely refreshed. Every cultivator had a different mentality. Among them, the Qingdan family was the happiest. That guy is doomed. Qingxue wants him to be her backer. She's dreaming. Qingxue's choice of this path was truly a mistake. However, it was a mistake when he faced the Jade Divinity Ancestral Land. That's right. Fortunately, we got rid of him in time. The people of the Qingdan family were also discussing. They felt that their choice was very wise. The people of the Jade Divinity Ancestral Land had another idea. I heard that the Star Lord who offended our Jade Divinity Ancestral Land was in control of the Celestial Terminus Ancestral Land. If that's the case, let's report it to the higher-ups and reclaim the Celestial Terminus Ancestral Land. Yes, reclaim the Celestial Terminus Ancestral Land. Kill anyone who dares to resist. The Jade Divinity Ancestral Land still had Grandmaster Xing alive. They could only go back and report the situation. They couldn't take revenge on Etianyan, but reclaiming the celestial terminus ancestral land was not a problem. Especially since the Metal Wind Star Lord had died, it would definitely provoke the Jade Divinity ancestral land. While the outside world was in an uproar, the experts were still fighting inside. The gate is closed. It seems you can't leave even if you want to, the Green Demon Holy King said with a cold smile. Do you think I should let you live and have fun here, or should I kill you now? Anyway, the gate was closed. No matter how strong Etianyan was, he couldn't escape. When he said that he would let Etianyan have fun here, he obviously didn't mean that he would let Etianyan travel around freely. He just wanted to let him live and think of ways to torture him. How could he let Etianyan go so easily to avenge his son's death? It seems that you really think that you can kill me with just a drop of Star Venerable's blood? Etianyan said with a smile. Even though he was covered in blood, he still maintained his calm expression. Isn't it? Do you think you can kill me in your current state? The Green Demon Holy King said coldly. Unless you also have Star Venerable's blood, do you think you can turn the situation around? I don't have Star Venerable's blood, but in this world, you can't rely on this to become stronger. You can also use your own strength to become stronger. Etianyan's clothes floated up, his aura rose continuously, and his wounds healed quickly. Isn't that obvious? Do you want to break through to Star Venerable here? The Green Demon Holy King laughed mockingly. He felt that Etianyan was stupid. I don't need to break through to Star Venerable to deal with you. Etianyan's eyes flashed, and he said with a smile. Originally, I wanted to hold back a little longer, but when I thought about how I could break through because of your contributions, I'll repay you. In the next moment, an even stronger energy burst out of his body, and his basic strength rose layer by layer. His cultivation rose from middle stage Star Venerable to late stage Star Venerable in one go. Previously, he had just broken through to middle stage Star Venerable, and now he could break through to late stage Star Venerable. This had a lot to do with him killing the Metal Wind Star Venerable. When he came here, he killed the Green Demon Holy Sun and many green demons. This allowed his star energy to accumulate quickly, and he could break through to late stage Star Venerable. This time, his gains in the 5-element mountain were really shocking. He broke through to late stage Star Venerable in one go. Even if no one could do it in the future, it was unprecedented. When the strong energy burst out, the Green Demon Holy King still had a look of disdain on his face. Oh, you even broke through a little. But even if you broke through, you can't be stronger than Star Venerable's blood. Before he could finish his words, the situation that unfolded quickly made him speechless. In the starry sky above, Etianyan originally grasped 14 cubes of star energy. Now he reached 16 cubes of star energy in one go, becoming even more heaven-defying. Chapter 1953. This was the strongest state Etianyan had ever reached. This was because he had devoured the other party's star power, which was why he could reach such a strong level. Assuming that he didn't have the astral power of the 4, he would only have the astral power of 12. This was already heaven-defying, especially when it was built on the unique starry Dharma phase. The effect was even more shocking. With the support of the 16 stars, the 5-colored Emperor Dragon also began to transform into a more solid form. It looked much more solid. Compared to the opponent's heavenly demon star, it was much more solid. The key was the increase in strength, which reached an unprecedented level. Roar! Above the starry domain, the 5-colored Emperor Dragon, which was originally suppressed by the heavenly demon star, started to roar crazily. Resplendent light covered the entire starry domain. The heavenly demon star, which had seemed very powerful, was immediately suppressed and became somewhat dim and lightless. This was the effect of breaking through. Etianyan felt very comfortable every time. Indeed, one had to increase their cultivation to reach a stronger level. By relying on one's own strength, one could erupt with an unparalleled effect. This was not a feeling that could be obtained from treasures or medicinal pills. Only when one's own strength was absolute strength. 10-16 star power? The Green Demon Holy King was shocked. He had never expected Etianyan to reach such a strong level. He thought that even if Etianyan broke through a level, It would only increase his strength by a little. He would still be far from the star Venerate's blood. But now his strength kept increasing, reaching an even more shocking level. He was even scarier than them. Destroy! Tianyun turned into the 5-colored Emperor Dragon. Even if he broke through to the late-stage star Venerate, he did not dare to be careless. When it was time to erupt, he would not hold back at all. With a heavy strike, the huge claw that could tear everything apart ruthlessly tore downwards. The Green Demon Holy King's heavenly demon hand could not resist at all. Even with the support of the star Venerate's blood, it was still torn to pieces. Whoosh! The Green Demon Holy King was torn to pieces and fell heavily to the ground, kicking up a mushroom cloud. The hard 5-colored godstones in the surroundings were all blasted to pieces. Green Demon Holy King. They looked down in shock. The Green Demon Holy King, who was in an invincible state, was immediately killed. That was the Star Venerable's blood. Even with the support of such a powerful Star Venerable's blood, he was still suppressed? Voila! The Green Demon Holy King charged out from the crater. His body flashed with green light as he quickly healed his injured body. There were ghastly scratches on his body that almost tore him into pieces. The current situation was similar to being torn into several pieces. There were a few parts where only a bit of skin was left, as if they would fall off at the slightest touch. However, with his powerful recovery ability, he quickly reattached them. This power, how did it increase so much? Green Demon Holy King's eyes were filled with shock. Before he could recover, Tianyun's attack came again. Tianyun wouldn't wait for him to recover before continuing to fight with him. He wouldn't do such a stupid thing. Facing such powerful power, Green Demon Holy King's face fell. In his current situation, he probably wouldn't even be able to block this move. Even if he had powerful recovery ability, he wouldn't be able to block this move. After all, if his recovery speed was slower than the speed at which he was injured, he would still die. Burn all of it. Green Demon Holy King ignited the floating Star Venerable's blood. At that moment, the drop of Star Venerable's blood started to burn crazily, and started to disappear bit by bit. His eyes became bloodshot, and the life force around him was quickly sucked out. I didn't expect that I would be forced into such a situation by you. I could have used this drop of Star Venerable's blood forever. For you, I can only burn this drop of blood. After Green Demon Holy King burned this drop of blood, his Star Venerable power erupted. Starlight descended from the sky and sprinkled on his body. In an instant, all the injuries on his body recovered. There weren't any visible wounds on his body. Not only that, but his power rose to another level. It was as if he entered a special state. Star Venerable state. He started to possess the Star Venerable realm. Even though his power hadn't reached the Star Venerable level yet, his state had become a Star Venerable. As he raised his hand, the surrounding star power was drawn over. Even the star power on Tianyun's side was drawn over. This was a Venerable who could control star power. All star power was under his control. The data in Tianyun's appraisal, I jumped crazily. Just by fusing with this drop of blood, Green Demon Holy King's overall power had increased by more than 10 times. This drop of Star Venerable's blood was indeed powerful. Die Ant. Green Demon Holy King slapped the air and used the Heavenly Demon Hand. This was a Star Sector level martial art, and its power had increased. The fog in the sky was scattered by this palm. I've said it before. Unless you're a real Star Venerable, everything else is meaningless to me. Tianyun's eyes flickered. He who had turned into the 5-colored Emperor Dragon, soared into the air again. The 5 colors in his body fused together, and turned into a shocking energy that gathered in his mouth. He then shot it at Green Demon Holy King. Chaos Rage. The giant beam of mixed light instantly turned into a faint yellow light. This was chaotic power. The 5 elements fused together to form the most primitive power, chaotic power. When the beam of light that could destroy everything came into contact with the huge heavenly demon hand, it immediately melted it. It was like an iceberg coming into contact with a scorching flame. It melted in an instant, and it melted very quickly. In the blink of an eye, the beam of light pierced through the heavenly demon hand and bombarded Green Demon Holy King's body, causing it to explode. This was an absolute suppression of power. Even if he ignited a Star Venerable's blood, it would still be useless, and he would still be destroyed by the cannon. It was all thanks to Green Demon Holy King that he could use such shocking power. If it wasn't for Green Demon Holy King, he really wouldn't have been able to use it. After all, the Wrath of Chaos could only be performed with more than 15 cubic meters of astral power. The previous moves were the same. Without the corresponding star power, he couldn't use the corresponding moves. After erupting, the Chaos Fury gave him a boost in strength, increasing his damage by a whopping 20 times. Correspondingly, after the eruption, Tianyan felt like his body was emptied and a lot of his power was consumed. At the same time, the star aspect in the sky dimmed. Chapter 1954. As a huge mushroom cloud rose, everything was blasted into nothingness by this cannon. Even the tough 5-colored divine stones in the surroundings were blasted into nothingness. Under normal circumstances, these 5-colored divine stones were very hard to destroy. However, this was only for Grandmaster Xing and below. To Tianyan and the others, it was simply easy to destroy. If they were to mine, it would naturally be very easy. However, it was simply a waste for Star Venerates to mine. No matter how fast they could mine, it was still not worth it. With their cultivation, there were too many things they could do. For example, they could search for various treasures or divine medicines. These were extremely valuable. One stalk was worth tens of thousands of 5-colored divine stones. Even if they dug for many years or decades, they would not be able to match the value of one stalk. Green Demon Holy King. The many subordinates gaped as they looked at the area of the explosion. If even the Green Demon Holy King died, then they were truly finished. If the strongest one died, then what else could they do to deal with Tianyan? After the explosion dissipated, a huge crater appeared in front of the demons. Tianyan lowered his head and looked down. What he saw was the Green Demon Holy King lying on the ground. His entire body had been blasted away, leaving only a small part of his body. The only part that was relatively intact was his head. The head looked like it was protected by an energy. If the head had been blasted away, then his soul would have been severely injured. This was a rather dangerous matter. This power, why is it so much stronger than mine? The Green Demon Holy King slowly floated up, and his entire body started to recover. In the blink of an eye, his body recovered and he started to recover his limbs. It seemed like he still had the strength to recover. However, he still looked very weak and his condition was rather poor. Most importantly, the Star Venerate blood covering his body had completely disappeared. Without the support of the Star Venerate blood, he was nothing in front of Tianyan. Great, the Green Demon Holy King is not dead. The demons started to cheer. As long as the Green Demon Holy King was not dead, there was still hope. His life is really tough. However, everything ends here. Tianyan twisted his body and pressed down with his huge claws. Since he was not dead, then he would kill him completely now. When the giant claw slammed down, all the devils cried out in alarm and rushed over to defend themselves. But with their bodies, how could they withstand Tianyan's tyrannical strength? Just as it struck, a bunch of Grandmasters Xing were smashed into meat paste. Grandmaster Xing, who was held in high regard outside, was easily killed here. He seemed worthless. You're really loyal, then go to hell. Tianyan wouldn't stop. No matter how many people came, he would kill them all. Now, not to mention Grandmaster Xing. Even a Star Venerate would be smashed into meat paste with one slap. The domineering astral power from the 16 directions was no joke. Green Demon Holy King, who was below, did not feel anything. Everything was to be expected. It's impossible to defeat me. Green Demon Holy King roared angrily. 2 drops of Star Venerable blood instantly appeared in his hands. Green Demon Holy King had never thought that he would still have 2 drops of Star Venerable blood. This wasn't beyond Tianyun's expectations. Since the Green Demon race had Star Venerates, they definitely had more than 1 drop of Star Venerable blood. The ancestral land of the Jade God could be so tyrannical because it also had Star Venerates. These were their trump cards. They didn't have Star Venerates, but they had Star Venerates' blood. After using it, They could explode with nature-defying power and suppress all star venerates. Without star venerates, they were invincible. From the green demon race, it could be seen what the ancestral land of the Jade God was relying on to be arrogant. Not only did they have star venerates resources, but they also had star venerates blood. No wonder those star venerates could only choose to retreat when they heard about the ancestral land of the Jade God. This time you'll definitely die. Green Demon Holy King really threw caution to the wind. He immediately absorbed 2 drops of star venerable blood and ignited them. Previously, he couldn't deal with Tianyun with 1 drop. Now that he ignited 2 drops, could he still not deal with him? As he ignited 2 drops of star venerable blood, a terrifying power soared into the sky. The star power in the sky kept increasing. In one breath, it rushed to 17 star power. It was much stronger than before. Sure enough, after burning 2 drops of star venerable blood, the improvement became even more obvious. His state was closer to that of a star venerable. Heavenly Demon Hand. Green Demon Holy King roared and used Heavenly Demon Hand. With the support of 2 drops of star venerable blood, its power became even more terrifying. The huge palm enveloped the entire area. Even the huge body of the 5-colored Emperor Dragon was blown up within it. Even the power of the stars above was blocked. Even if you still have star venerable blood, I'll still suppress you. Tianyun mobilized all of his power. Facing such an attack, he didn't hesitate. He still opened his giant mouth and gathered the chaotic anger again. But this time, it gathered in circles and didn't erupt so quickly. Terrifying power gathered in waves. This time he compressed it crazily, compressing it in circles. At the same time, the energy in the surrounding 5-colored divine stones was quickly extracted. It was a perfect area. The 5-colored divine stones contained the power of the 5 elements, which was also very suitable for the 5-colored Emperor Dragon. With the perfect combination, the energy in the 5-colored divine stones was extracted. After the energy in some of the 5-colored divine stones was extracted, they became transparent. Tianyun didn't absorb this energy into his body. Instead, he turned it into an attack. The 5-colored Emperor Dragon always had the ability to absorb the energy around it crazily. This time, in this perfect area, it could be used even more. As it kept superimposing, the energy light ball became more and more powerful. It was almost beyond what he could control. If he absorbed it into his body, he definitely wouldn't be able to convert it so quickly. But if he released it directly and compressed it into an attack, it would be a completely different state. If he didn't do this, he probably wouldn't be able to suppress Green Demon Holy King. After absorbing 2 drops of star venerable blood, the Green Demon Holy King had become much stronger. He hadn't wanted to use this move, but since things had come to this, he had no choice but to use it. This move was very powerful, but it also had a great weakness. It needed time to gather. As it gathered, the heavenly demonic hand slapped down, slapping heavily on the 5-colored Emperor Dragon's body. Boom! The 5-colored Emperor Dragon was slapped heavily, and it almost fell. But Tianyun held on. Even though his back was badly mutilated and his body was about to collapse, he still held on. Just hold on a little longer. Tianyun held on. As expected of an attack that had absorbed 2 drops of star venerable blood, he almost couldn't hold on. If it continued, he definitely wouldn't be able to hold on. The Green Demon Holy King, who was below, also felt the terrifying power. If it continued to attack, he would definitely die. Even the area around him would cease to exist. Chapter 1955. Get down here. The Green Demon Holy King once again formed the Sky Demon Hand and slammed it down towards Tianyun. However, when the giant palm slammed down, Tianyun was only slightly pressed down. He refused to be slapped down no matter what. He held on like this and would not be slapped down no matter what. Once he was slapped down, he would definitely lose. Finally, after condensing for a period of time, it reached an extreme power. Condensed. Tianyun's eyes were cold, and everything gathered in front of him, such a destructive power, in the next moment, like a storm of lightning and thunder, bombarded in front of him. Chaos Rage. Boom. Compared to the first Chaos Rage, it was several times more powerful. It ruthlessly blasted down towards the Green Demon Holy King. At the same time, the Green Demon Holy King also slammed down on Etienne's body. Bang! Etienne was not much better off. He was slapped down. In the next second, he shrank and returned to his original form. He fell from the sky like a meteor. The Green Demon Holy King was enveloped by the Chaos Rage. The power compressed to the extreme didn't even touch the Green Demon Holy King, and exploded in all directions. The violent power swept through everything, covering a radius of millions of miles. Everything was melted by this terrifying power. No, no, no! The Green Demon Holy King roared, but his recovery ability couldn't make up for his damage. His body was quickly engulfed by this attack, and completely disappeared from this world. A large number of green demons in the surroundings were engulfed by this attack. Only a small number of green demons were not affected because they were far away. Soon, the explosion dissipated, and an even larger crater appeared on the ground. Only a small portion of the corpses were found here. Most of them directly turned into powder and dissipated. They looked over in shock. A moment later, they quickly searched in this direction. After a full circle, they couldn't find the Green Demon Holy King's body. The Green Demon Holy King is dead? Dead. They were dazed. Their king died just like that. This time, not only did the Green Demon Divine Son die, but even the Green Demon Holy King died. This was a huge loss for the Green Devil race. Initially, he had wanted to conquer the outside world. But now, let alone conquer the outside world, he couldn't even protect himself. Then what about the outsiders? Quick, go find him. The soldiers of the Green Demon race did not stay here foolishly. Instead, they immediately turned around to look for Etienne. Etienne must have been severely injured after receiving such a powerful attack, making it difficult for him to move. As long as they could find him and kill him, even if there were losses on this side, at least they could get rid of a scourge. If they attacked again, they wouldn't be able to withstand it. However, after looking around, they did not find any trace of Etienne. All they saw was a pool of blood on the ground, which meant that Etienne had been here before. Where is he? He actually escaped. They were shocked. Etienne had clearly suffered such a powerful attack, yet he was still able to endure it. It was truly inconceivable. Quickly search for him. Where did he hide? With such heavy injuries, he definitely can't have gone far. They quickly searched the surroundings for Etienne, wanting to find him as soon as possible. At the same time, Etienne really did crawl to his feet and flee to the side. Even though he was seriously injured, escaping was not a problem. He quickly found a cave and hurriedly hid in it. Then he concealed his aura and started to heal his injuries. His injuries were very serious, mainly because he had consumed a shocking amount of energy. I can't die this time. Etienne shook his head. He was not like in the lower realms, where he could resurrect infinitely. There was no resurrection here, which meant that resurrection in the lower realms was not applicable here. It also meant that he was going to die here, which meant that he would really die here. But the harvest this time is really rich. Etienne's eyes flashed. He had not only obtained a shocking amount of star energy, but he had also obtained the Star Venerable's blood. After killing the Green Demon Holy King, he had obtained the Star Venerable's blood. The Green Demon Holy King had used up all of it, and now there was an extra. How could it not be a pleasant surprise? The Star Venerable's blood was also suitable for him, and it could still exert a shocking effect. It was a powerful trump card. Unfortunately, the amount was very limited, and there was only one drop. But Etienne did not feel that it was a pity. It was fine as long as he had it. He did not expect it to help him much. After all, it was not his own power. No matter how strong it was, it would only be invincible against Star Lords. Against Star Venerables, it would be nothing. A drop of blood was like someone else's saliva. It could not be used up. Then, he quickly immersed himself in healing his injuries. If the system could be upgraded, he would not have to worry too much. I wonder what the situation in the lower realms is like now. Etienne slowly closed his eyes. He did not know what the situation in the lower realms was like, but he believed that the progress would not be slow. With so much power, he would definitely be able to rule the lower realms. As for when it would be completed, it was really unknown. While he was hiding and healing, the Jade God's ancestral land outside was extremely furious. It sent a group of strong people to the celestial terminus ancestral land, intending to occupy it. Under the attack of a large group of strong people, the celestial terminus ancestral land, which had been set up well, collapsed in an instant. Those who resisted could only be cannon fodder. They were suppressed in the blink of an eye. It would be fine if they surrendered, but if they did not, they would die. Most of them did not surrender. However, they did not defend it. Instead, they chose to escape from the celestial terminus ancestral land. They hid in a corner and waited for an opportunity. We are doomed. We are doomed. We have offended the Jade God's ancestral land. I'm afraid there is no hope for us. It is Yi Tianyan's fault. If it were not for him, we would not be in such a situation. Shut up. A man came forward. If Yi Tianyan had been here, he would have recognized him as Gong Yang, the practitioner he had met when he had just come up from the lower realms. Gong Yang came forward and said sternly, "If it were not for Brother Tianyan, we would not have freedom. I guess we would still be mining until we die. Do you want to experience the feeling of not being able to die even if you want to? I would rather die than be a slave." Yes. I would rather die than be a slave. They all chose to support Yi Tianyan. However, some felt that Yi Tianyan had offended the Jade God's ancestral land. If he had not offended them, they would have been safe. Chapter 1956. Empyrean Terminus Ancestral Land fell, and was quickly taken over by Jade God Ancestral Land. There was no doubt about this. Originally, the cultivator relied on Yi Tianyan to turn the situation around. Now that Yi Tianyan wasn't here, they couldn't stabilize their situation. Especially when Jade God Ancestral Land personally sent experts, they quickly collapsed. Especially Jade God Ancestral Land, they sent people to kill. Those who resisted were killed without exception. Some didn't even resist and were killed anyway. This was the extremely domineering Jade God Ancestral Land. Goldwind Star Sovereign was killed, causing Jade God Ancestral Land to lose face. Now Yi Tianyan was dead because of the Green Devil race. It had nothing to do with Jade God Ancestral Land. Jade God Ancestral Land couldn't find Yi Tianyan to take revenge, so they could only vent their anger on Empyrean Terminus Ancestral Land. This place became hell on earth. Those who managed to escape were full of complaints, and many of them cursed Yi Tianyan for provoking the Jade God Ancestral Land. Everything was fine, but now they had to suffer. Some protected him, some cursed, and some felt pity. All the cultivators had different thoughts. They were like a plate of loose sand that scattered at the slightest touch. Those who supported Yi Tianyan were few and far between. Not many would defend Yi Tianyan. After all, Yi Tianyan was dead. Who would defend him? Even if he didn't die, he would die for provoking Jade God Ancestral Land if he could escape. But there was still a group of people who believed that Yi Tianyan wasn't dead. They continued to wait for Yi Tianyan's return. At the same time, they gathered a group of cultivators and hid in the dark to cultivate. This group was naturally Dengfeng, Alchemy God, and the others. They definitely supported Yi Tianyan. No matter what Yi Tianyan did, they would choose to support him. In their opinion, Yi Tianyan must have his reasons for provoking Jade God Ancestral Land. However, they weren't very clear about the exact reason behind it. In short, those who originally trusted Yi Tianyan felt that he was too arrogant and could not be trusted. Basically, he lost the trust of the people. Yi Tianyan was not clear about the situation in the Empyrean Terminus Ancestral Land. He had been recuperating all this time. Even if he knew what was going on outside, it would be difficult for him to leave. There was no way to leave this place using teleportation godstones. The fog around him was a kind of seal that trapped him here. Naturally, he couldn't leave. While he was recovering, many Green Demon race members were constantly searching for him. He tried to dodge as much as he could. The damage he suffered was too heavy, and it wasn't something that could be easily recovered. After being struck by the Green Demon Holy King several times in a row, and it was an attack that had been infused with 2 drops of star venerable blood. No matter how strong his defense was, he could not bear such a strong force. Previously, he had held on with all his might. He knew that if he didn't hold on, it would be his death. If he took the Star Venerable's blood, he might be able to recover quickly. The Star Venerable's blood contained a strong wood element power, and it possessed a strong healing power. After all, the Green Demon race was best at wood element power, which meant that their healing power was relatively strong. However, he didn't want to waste it. It was like he had another life. He wouldn't waste it unless it was a critical moment. He had already changed several hiding places. In fact, he wasn't afraid of facing 1 or 2 green demons. But if he was exposed, it wouldn't be so easy for him to escape. After all, this was their territory. Once they surrounded him, he wouldn't be able to escape easily. If he had no choice but to use the Star Venerable's blood, it would be a waste. Someone else is coming. Tianyan suddenly opened his eyes and stared ahead. He felt the aura of the Green Demon race approaching. If he kept coming, his position would definitely be exposed. He quickly stood up and moved to the side quietly. His body flashed, and he floated to the side. He really wanted to leave this area with 5 colored divine stones. As long as he left, he would be completely safe. The Green Demon race couldn't leave this area, but he could. The two were completely different. But now, the gate was closed. Even the gate inside was closed. How could he go out? If it weren't for this, he would have rushed out long ago. He wouldn't have needed to treat his injuries here. No matter how hard he tried, he had to escape rather than stay here. This was the Green Demon race's territory. There were giant beasts outside. It would be much safer than here. There were many giant beasts outside, but they were all alone. They weren't as intelligent as here. They would come in groups. It would be difficult to resist them. When he was about to leave and hide in the side, several green demons surrounded him. They basically sealed off this area. Damn it. I'm trapped. It seems like I can only risk my life this time. Tianyan's eyes turned cold. He was ready to fight. It wasn't difficult to kill these green demons in one go. Even if he hadn't recovered completely, it wouldn't be difficult for him to kill them. A starving camel was still bigger than a horse. No matter how heavily injured he was still a Star Lord. Just as he was about to fight, the ground suddenly trembled. Then, a figure climbed up from below. Tianyan quickly dodged to the side and stared coldly at the ground. They actually sneak attacked from below. These green demons know how to dig holes? Just as Tianyan was about to attack, a crisp voice came from below. Big brother, quickly hide here. A small head popped out of the small hole. If one looked carefully, one would find that the hair was multicolored. The eyes that were revealed were also multicolored. If one looked carefully, one would find that it was a little girl that looked like she was carved out of jade. She was waving at him. How was this the Green Demon race? It was a completely different race. Tianyan didn't even think and immediately hid inside. To him, as long as it wasn't the Green Demon race, there was no problem. After hiding inside, the little girl immediately closed the top. There was no gap at all. It didn't look like it had been opened earlier. At this time, the Green Demon race came in. After looking around, he said loudly, "There's no one here. Look elsewhere." Where did this outsider hide? No matter how we look, we can't find him. How long has it been? There's no trace at all. Could it be that this guy escaped? But that's not right. The door is closed. Where can he escape to? Don't tell me he was rescued by those guys. How is that possible? Those guys are so xenophobic. Why would they save an outsider? Their voices spread further and further. Soon they couldn't hear what they were saying. Tianyan turned his head to look to the side. The little girl was standing in front of him. She was surrounded by multicolored light. This multicolored divine stone could be used as a lamp, illuminating this place very clearly. Even without this light, he could clearly see the little girl's condition. Chapter 1957. Tianyan was dumbfounded. He did not expect to be saved by a little girl, and not from the same race at that. According to the Green Demon race outside, She seemed to be from another race in the same area, and she seemed to be very xenophobic and unfriendly. But if she was really unfriendly, why would she save him? Tianyan looked the little girl up and down. Apart from her hair color, her eyes seemed to emit a faint light, and she looked at him curiously. Tianyan was very curious about her, and she was also very curious about Tianyan. Overall, her cultivation was not high, only at the level of a star master. Even so, she was not very old. Staying in the area of the 5-colored divine stone, no matter how bad her talent was, with such a dense energy, it would not be bad. Why did you save me? Tianyan thought for a while, and finally decided to ask about the situation. You are not a bad person. The little girl tilted her head and thought for a while, then said, I am not a bad person? Tianyan immediately smiled, looked at her and said, How do you know I am not a bad person? You killed the people of the green demon race, so you are not a bad person. Although the little girl said this, there was still some timidity in her eyes, and she did not dare to get too close. Facing such a strange existence, she still had to be vigilant. I killed the people of the green demon race, so I am not a bad person? Tianyan was startled. He did not expect such a thing. In that case, those who helped you kill the green demon race are not bad people. The little girl tilted her head, then shook it and said, It is not like that. I felt a very familiar aura from you, as if you are similar to us, so I saved you. Also, you killed the people of the green demon race, so you are definitely not a bad person. Familiar aura? Tianyan thought for a while and immediately knew what was going on. The familiar feeling she was talking about was actually the aura of the 5-colored emperor dragon, which was similar to the power of the 5 elements. The little girl in front of him clearly did not have the slightest bit of dragon bloodline. With a sweep of the appraisal eyes, detailed information immediately appeared. The 5-colored divine race. A race that relies on the 5-colored divine stone to survive. They possess great power and control the power of the 5 elements. 5-colored god race. Tianyan's eyes flashed. He finally understood why he was so hostile towards the green demon race. Not to mention the green demon race, even the other races wanted to capture the 5-colored god race when they saw them. His entire body was a treasure. There was no way they would let him go. Their bloodlines contained dense 5-colored energy, which would be extremely beneficial to one's cultivation if one were to absorb it. As for the green demon race, they wanted to suck it dry. It was equivalent to an extremely concentrated 5-colored godstone, so how could they not want to absorb it? Yes, you have an aura that is familiar to us, but you are not one of us. You are a human. The little girl tilted her head, thinking about something. Of course I'm not one of your clansmen. Anyway, do you know how to get out of here? Tianyan felt a headache as to how to get out. The path was sealed. Even though he was a star venerate, it was not easy for him to escape. The existence that set up this place far surpassed his cultivation. Suppressing him did not give him any pressure at all. I don't know about that. The elders might know, but if they knew about you, they would definitely chase you out or kill you. The little girl shook her head. You are indeed quite xenophobic. Tianyan shook his head. You are not xenophobic, and you are even willing to save me. If the other elders knew that I killed the green demon race, would they still reject me? They will. You are all not good people. You will all capture us. The little girl pouted, feeling extremely angry. Tianyan felt awkward. Although he was not very clear about this, they were both precious spirit herbs, so they would definitely be taken away. But you don't reject me. Tianyan shook his head. You killed the holy king of the green demon race. He killed my parents. The little girl's eyes dimmed, and sorrow welled up in her. Tianyan was silent. No wonder the little girl chose to save him. It turned out that she wanted to take revenge. Otherwise, she would not have come out. Even if she had a familiar aura, she would not have come out. Cough. Cough. Is there no other way for me to get out? Tianyan hurried to change the topic. If he stayed on this topic, the little girl would definitely cry. Compared to this, he really wanted to leave this place. He had gotten what he wanted, so it was about time to leave. Although he was somewhat curious about this place, the current situation did not seem very good. Not only did he not get anything good, but he also got injured. Of course, killing so many green demons had helped his cultivation advance quickly, which was pretty good, especially when he had gotten the Star Venerate's blood. The most important thing was the situation of the Jade God Ancestral Land. He guessed that if he had not shown up, they would have attacked the Celestial Pole Ancestral Land. Who knew that the Five Elements Mountain would close so soon? They also did not know that the treasures inside were actually a pile of green demons. It was a complete scam. I can only ask, the little girl said after remaining silent for a while. But since you helped me take revenge, I will help you find some information. If I can't find anything, you can stay in my place. As long as you don't wander around, you can go out smoothly when the next time the mountain opens. The Five Elements Mountain would not close forever. It would open again. At that time, Etianyan would be able to go out easily. But the next time would be many years later. How long would he have to wait? At that time, the Celestial Pole Ancestral Land would be completely destroyed. What he cared more about was his own faction. If it continued to be controlled by the Jade God Ancestral Land, it would be extremely disgusting. Alright, lead the way then. Etianyan could only rely on the little girl now. He hoped she could find a way out. Follow me. The little girl waved her hand and trotted forward. She turned into a gust of wind and moved forward. Etianyan followed closely. Soon a strange scene appeared. When she left the area, the passage behind her quickly closed and returned to its original appearance. This was no longer a passage, but a type of drilling technique. She could go wherever she wanted. There was no need to dig a hole or anything like that. Following the little girl's lead, she ran for a while before stopping. We are here. Don't release your aura later. If I am detected, I will be punished. The little girl nodded to him. Then she waved her hand and a hole appeared above. Then, she led Etianyan up. After going up, it was a small house with many exquisite furnishings. Everything was decorated warmly. There was no doubt that this was the little girl's room. As soon as she came back, there was a knock on the door. Dong dong dong, Kai Shui, are you inside? You're tuning in to the Limei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.